I just want to talk about where we all are mentally right now. And I know it's not good. Mentally, we're all cooked. All of us today opened up our phones and for the second time this month witnessed masked federal agents murder an American citizen on the streets of Minneapolis. American citizen who is just trying to observe and protect their own community. For the second time this month, we all then witnessed the Department of Homeland Security lie about that citizen, lie about their intent, lie about exactly what happened, called them a domestic terrorist. We sat through all of this. Again, it's happened twice. It will happen a third time. The question is whether or not it'll happen in Minneapolis, or will it happen in your neighborhood? This is a pattern, and I don't need to recognize too many of them to know that we're in unprecedented times, with the exception of the fact that this has happened in so many countries and places before. This is a human story. We are watching what started as a distraction tactic quickly spin out of control by a dementia-riddled dictator who was trying to protect his pedophile friends. All of this is happening because the Epstein Files Act was passed, the Transparency Act to release the files, and that deadline has passed, December 19th. 1% of them got released. Think about that. How many? What did we see? We saw a series of blacked out pages over and over again. We watched the DOJ and the FBI not redact them properly. We watched them then start to pull documents that are already out there with the president's own fucking name on them. They vanished. They then stopped releasing them. What happened? A week later, Elon Musk, the president's good buddy, used the algorithm on Twitter to start to promote this Somali daycare fraud bullshit from Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley, a man who has worked as a foreign agent for both El Salvador and the CCOT prisons and for the nation of Israel, by trying to claim that what was happening in Gaza wasn't a genocide. Nick Shirley's story about Somali daycares in Minnesota was used as red meat justification to send a surge of ICE troops into the streets. They wanted to send troops. They tried sending troops in other places, but they got batted down by federal judges about that. So they started using ICE and CBP. They started sending them in, Customs Border Patrol. We started seeing them use heavier and heavier handed tactics. You started seeing Minnesotans come out and push back against these tactics to protect their neighborhoods and to protect their neighbors. We saw the murder of Renee Good. Nobody's talking about Epstein anymore. Nobody's talking about how we're past 30 days. Nobody's talking about how the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, has spent more time going after Don Lemon than she has going after any of the pedophile billionaires who traveled to Epstein's Island to have 1,200 underage girls get marched naked past them. No one's covered any of this. It's moved to the back burner. It's been cooled by ICE. Now ICE is stealing children, 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds, using them as fucking bait. Using them as bait to trick their families into coming outside. ICE is grabbing American citizens and claiming they have to show documentation when the law itself says that a United States citizen does not have to show identification to exist in this country. We've seen ICE go in to American citizens' homes, strip them and pull them out into the snow in freezing conditions in their underwear, then lie, claiming that they were actually there to go after a sex offender. Only to find out that sex offender was already in jail, already been informed. They've already told DHS, they already told ICE, here he is, come and get him. And instead they used it as a justification to attack a population. We are beyond We are beyond anything that King George ever did. We are beyond the Boston Massacre. We are beyond what they did to Boston. We're beyond the Redcoats coming to Lexington. The shots have been fired. They're aimed at us. That's where we are. Today, members of the government stated that if you have a weapon and you get too close to federal agents, they can use that as provocation to kill you. You have no Second Amendment. Talking to the police, demonstrating to your government will get you labeled a domestic terrorist. All the while, our same government, while claiming to be building a board of peace, will then tell you we need to bomb Iran because they're killing protesters. All the while, they will tell you that we need Greenland because we have to protect the world for freedom. All the while, we'll steal presidents, we'll steal oil, and we'll say we're doing it in the name of peace. Not my peace, not your peace. Whose peace? Whose justice? Whose bank account? That's what I want to know. We have sat here now and watched them turn up the heat when it is minus 20 outside. A snowstorm is about to cover 2/3 of this country. And they are talking about sending troops to occupy Minneapolis. The President of the United States is a dementia-riddled pedophile protector. He doesn't have long left. He's 79 years old, and every day he shows up with a new bruise he can't explain. People have reported that he smells like he's rotting from the inside out. Everyone surrounding him knows that the clock is ticking. His heir apparent has no charisma and is hated by the very people that elected the president. All of them know that time is running out. Many of them are trying desperately to turn this into something new. Desperately. And we're sitting here watching the same ineffectual Democrats like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem the Cuck Jeffries look over their glasses and tell us they're going to write a strongly worded letter. I don't have answers. What I'm going to do is introduce myself to any neighbors I don't already know, just so I know who's in my fucking neighborhood. What I'm going to do is if I see someone covered in a mask, I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to film them. And I'm going to put them online. If I see someone being tackled by people in the street, I'm going to run over and ask for that person's name because people are being disappeared at a rate that we can't fathom and our government won't fucking tell us. We're in a situation that many of us prayed we would never see, and some of us couldn't fucking imagine. It's going to get worse. I'm not going to lie to you and say there's light at the end of the tunnel. That light is a train. It's a fascist train, and it's blaring a horn saying that we're fucking next. Do with that information what you will.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it. Brie Larson says one fucking thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do.
Words are flowing out like woke Mary Sue, objective truth. They don't mean much, but nothing ever does across the grift of
Alright, you assholes.
You can pick up the softback trade paper.
The what now?
How do you do, fellow kids?
The
What?
Hello and welcome, and here's me, and here's Eric. Hey,
What's up?
how's it going?
Okay, I'm a little under the weather. I feel like I'm catching a cold, so that's
Yikes.
not good. Yeah, like this, I felt like I was going to get it at some point. Everybody's had something, so it's just a matter of time. Luckily for me, it looks like we're going to be snowed in over the weekend, so I probably would have not been able to work anyway. So,
Well, I guess that works out.
I mean, if I'm going to be sick, this is probably the best weekend to be sick. So,
As long as you're not iced in.
we
All
might
right.
be. We might be.
R.I.P. to Sal Buscema. I just saw this. It's from yesterday, I believe. Legendary, prolific comic book artist Sal Buscema. Famous for lengthy runs on Incredible Hulk, Spectacular Spider-Man, and ROM, Space Knight. He died on January 23rd, 2026, at the age of 89. Hate to start on a downer note, but I mean, really, he's an older guy. He had a good run and many good runs.
Man, I want to make it to 89. That would be
right. Yeah, I mean, like he set the standard for Marvel Comics for quite a long time. So
yeah, he was a very recognizable artist. Part of that OG like Marvel way era where they did
Marvel
the
method for sure. Like, I'm pretty sure that he did the. I could go get it. I have like 2 copies of the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book from the 80s.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that he was the one that did that. Did the drawings for that.
You might be right. You might be right on that.
Yeah. For the record, Turf Nation is not here. We are simply just we've commandeered his signal. We're streaming to his channel. Because why not? Yeah, we're going to talk about that guy as well. Greg Ketter, owner of Dreamhaven Books and Comics. Got stuff about him here in a second. We might as well go ahead and talk about that. Let's see. Yeah, holy shit. So, comic book store owner Greg Ketter, walking through a cloud of tear gas in Minneapolis. Share my screen here. Not that screen. Dang, you dummy. I switched my left and right monitors, and I'm still haven't gotten used to that yet.
Oh, okay. We haven't heard from Turf in a while. At least I haven't heard from Turf in a while. So
yeah, I mean, I like to think he's busy, like living a life that doesn't involve much thinking about chuds and stuff. It's a pretty epic image here. This is from Ultimates writer Dennis Camp here. Dreamhavenbooks.com is this guy's store. Go support him if you can. But just iconic imagery right there. He's just 70 years old, and he's just like fucking coming out of the cloud of tear gas like a goddamn champion. So support your local bookstore. If you can't support his, support your local one.
This is one of those shots that I think will, at least in our community, will look back on and be like, yeah, this was what we've had to fucking deal with this.
Well, there's a clip of him. It might be in the thing here, but he's like, yeah, he's basically a clip of him just being like, I'm 70 fucking years old. I don't want to be out here, but I'm out here. Straight up 70-year-old man still doing the right thing. So yeah. Yeah, the things people go through for their softback trade papers.
That guy fucking big ass Star Trek lie in one of his videos that I caught him in.
What do you say?
Oh, you didn't see the clip from my video?
Might have. I mean,
I'll pull it up here. Hold on. It's a very quick one, but essentially he edited a Star Trek clip from 2020 to make it look like they said something they didn't, and then he uploaded it to his channel. Hold on.
Wow, that I'm really surprised that he would be dishonest that way.
All right, so here we'll just look at this very quickly. It's a long video, but this is a very short clip. But I just want to show you that I didn't know if you hadn't seen it or not, but I want everybody to see this because this is it's a big deal, I think. So to set this up, this is a series of videos I did about the article from the Mary Sue about Neurotic and Critical Drinker.
Okay,
and I covered a few different videos. Yeah. So Az did a video, and I didn't catch it when I did the Az reaction because there was just so much bad faith stuff in there anyway. But after I did the video, I went looking and I'm like, where is this clip of Alex Kurtzman saying that Star Trek is just about the messaging? And this is Jeremy from liarsandlosers.com. And
who totally didn't feel the need to make a new Geeks and Gamers video because everybody was pointing out how his channel was dead, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I saw this video. I was like, well, now he's making videos again. Yeah. But he's reading from here. It's the laziest video possible. But he's shouting out Az for digging up this information about Alex Kurtzman, and it's based on a lie. Look at the clip here. Hold on, let me play this.
Never about Star Trek. They were about using the platform Star Trek presented him to push the message.
All right, so I hate to do this. I hate to jump back into a video that I've previously done, but since it does sort of tie into this story, I think it's really important. So if you didn't watch it yesterday, I did a video debunking and calling out all of the dumb shit that Az said. Well, not all of it, Eric. I need to debunk myself. You missed this one. About Star Trek, Starfleet Academy in regards to this critical drinker neurotic thing and this Mary Sue article. In this video, he actually leaves a clip out of context to push his narrative. Now, it's not even out of context. I realized this after I made this video. He actually edits the clip. It's not just an out of context clip. There's a part of it that is purposely edited to leave out important information. We're going to watch his clip. It's very quick, the segment that I'm talking about. And then I'm going to provide the context that Az purposely left out of this clip when he made this video. Here's Az's clip.
There's no problem with Star Trek fans. There is, however, a massive problem with Star Trek. After all, Star Trek isn't Star Trek anymore. Okay. It's Star Trek in name only. Alex Kurtzman has said that himself.
Here we go.
They said that they're only using Star Trek as a platform for their messages.
They're only using Star Trek as a platform for their messaging, specifically Star Trek. Keep that in mind.
Therefore, Star Trek is no longer the important thing. Their messages have become the important thing. And when one supersedes the other is surplus to requirements.
Black Lives Matter, the NAACP.
Wait, go ahead. What were you saying?
We can watch this first, but I just wanted to throw out there, everybody, think about this. What do you think Star Trek was about originally? What was Gene Roddenberry doing with it?
Right.
Just saying. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is the clip with Alex Kurtzman where he's saying that I want to just make sure everybody understands this. He is saying that Alex Kurtzman made this statement that his Star Trek is about messaging of these different groups and communities. And he's using this clip as an example because he's saying this is Alex Kurtzman's words. Here we go.
Black Lives Matter, the NAACP. The goal is not really to promote Star Trek, but to promote these organizations and to use our platform to be able to bring greater awareness to these very, very important messages and places.
So if you take that clip as it is without any context, it does sound like he's saying that based on what that clip says. And even I thought, well, even if he said that, who cares? Because like Star Trek is about humanity. It's about bettering the world. Like that, like how is that a problem? Anyway,
based off what Kurtzman's just said, to the Mary Sue, Star Trek isn't Star Trek. Star Trek is about the messages that the current brigade of people like Alex Kurtzman put into it.
Okay, so I want to be clear here. He is being misleading and lying to you on purpose. That was a very cleverly edited clip that he was using.
Yeah, I didn't
so now let's look at the context of what was being said in that clip, because heel versus babyface left all of it out of there. First, we have to take a trip all the way back to 2020. I want to remind everybody, he went back to 2020 to grab that clip. So 6 years. To get that
Kurtzman still even the head of everything right now?
Yes. Yeah. He's still doing it. But he went back 6 years to get that clip. And I had to really struggle to find it, meaning that they had to go to a lot of trouble to get that segment of that clip to say that. And the clip is from like a 2-hour live stream. So anyway. And CBS launching this initiative, Star Trek United, in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, regardless of what you think about it, this is the context that is missing. This was June of 2020. CBS has announced a free streaming Star Trek marathon in support of Black Lives Matter movement in an effort to infuse Gene Roddenberry's vision of a better future into the turbulent times we currently find ourselves in. The hashtag Star Trek United campaign will include 15 Star Trek episodes that have been described as culturally relevant, and it will be available to stream for free on CBS.com. It says here CBS has pledged to make a $1 donation for every fan that tweets using the hashtag Star Trek United Gives to organizations supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, including Black Strategy Fund, Movement for Black Lives, and Black Lives Matter. This is what Star Trek United is. Now, you might be saying, what does that have to do with the clip that Az just showed? Well, I'm going to show you that cleverly and selectively edited clip in its entirety, so then you will understand the full context. Here you go.
You know, we've seen in the past few weeks that you guys that we've seen on the Star Trek social media platforms, hashtag Star Trek United. Alex, can you give us a sense about what that is telling us?
Star Trek, really, since its inception, has always it's endeavored to speak to the vision that we are all fortunate enough to live in every day. It's unfortunately not the vision that the rest of the world is living in, but we live in this perfect world where, as Heather said, everybody really is united, and a lot of the differences that are dividing us these days are gone. So Star Trek United is an effort to bring awareness to many of the organizations that are critical right now. Black Lives Matter, the NAACP, a lot of our cast speaking to that, Star Trek speaking to it.
That was cut.
The goal is not really to promote Star Trek, but to promote these organizations and to use our platform to be able to bring greater awareness to these very, very important messages. And
so basically, he cut out all of the stuff that shows it's for a charity and made it look like Alex Kurtzman was saying that about Star Trek as a whole.
Wow.
And that's been their big, like in the article, it's a big block of that argument, is that Alex Kurtzman said this, but he didn't. It's an edited clip, and it leaves out portions in the middle, too. So this is what we're dealing with.
That makes sense, then. Appropriately, I posted this yesterday. I'm Az from Heel versus Babyface.
Yeah.
The meat
I
clown.
saw that. It was so funny.
But
yeah, I mean, like,
I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to be petty for a minute because fuck this guy.
Well, I mean, the worst part about it is that when you start doing stuff like that, it means everything you say is quite possibly a lie. And if that's the foundation of your argument, then your whole argument falls apart.
I mean, honestly, I mean, you're right, but and that's true. I think that they're all of their platforms have been suffering from, partially at least, from this type of bad faith narrative and disingenuous posting and shit like that. But I mean, it's really no different in strategy and tactic from the Force is Female thing, right? Where it's like taking something completely out of context, presenting it as being, something very specific that it's not. And just running with it and letting not only letting people believe it, but using that as like to rally their fucking troops to being embittered about whatever content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the worst part is with the Force is Female is even though a lot of them knew it was a campaign for Nike, they still kept pushing it like it was a campaign for Star Trek or Star Wars. And I'm like, no, that's not what it was.
Like you said, they had to know. I mean, there's only two options with that clip that you just showed, or you just debunked the shit out of. One, and this is most likely, I guess, is that Az or somebody in their camp went and found that from the stream and clipped it deceptively. Or, this is being charitable, I don't know why I would do that, somebody from their audience maybe sent it to them or something like that. Yeah. Or somebody that works for them sent it to them and didn't tell them that this is actually not the context of it. Either way, it's not good for them.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, there's a couple issues with that too, is that there'll be no retraction. They'll never come out and say, oh, we were wrong about it. They'll just ignore it. But the other thing is, if somebody sends me a clip of something, it's like a clip from a stream or something that I can find myself, I'm going to go and look that up. And it did take me a little while to find where that clip came from, but I was able to track it down and go, oh, wait, this isn't about Star Trek. This is why he says it's not about Star Trek. It's about the messaging. It's because it wasn't, they were trying to get the charity in the forefront of that.
And they're presenting
so
it as
deceptive.
It's not about Star Trek. As in, we don't even give a shit about Star Trek.
Right.
We only give a shit about the message, right? Like, what's so fucking dishonest, man?
Yeah, it's bad. Who knew anarcho-libertarians wanted to enforce border security?
By the way, I guess I can recognize maybe my thumbnail was a little too spicy for you.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold on. I wasn't. Look, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I was like, YouTube is gonna get us if we don't.
Yeah,
and I was gonna say
get it.
something
Well,
today.
I mean, you know, I was just I recognized after I was like, maybe it's not as clear. What I'm trying to say is that this is just presenting his attitude right now. That
I
he's
totally
really-
got it. I just was like, I don't want YouTube to get the channel, so I was like, I'm gonna change it.
yeah, you know, always feel free to reject anything.
I didn't. It was in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I know he's asleep, but I'm gonna do something here. I couldn't do it to your channel though. I was like, well, I guess I could. I have access. I could have gone and changed it, but I didn't want you to think it was like, oh, I want to change everybody's. I was just worried about it.
If you do on something like that, if you felt like it was just out of line and you think you're making a better choice for everybody, I wouldn't think about it.
But look, I get it. Like I personally understood, but I was like, YouTube's not gonna get this.
Well, my first instinct whenever I saw his video about that was just like I was like, man, I wish I was an artist because I would just draw like a picture of cartoon Eric and he's like filleting a gun that says state-run gang because that's what he has described the Fed as in the past, the government.
Yeah.
They're state-run gang, right? And then it would be like Trump in an ICE uniform holding the gun. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I'm not that good. I mean, you know, so this is the kind of narrative that I just think is pretty stupid. You know what I mean? Like starting any kind of claim with like nobody cares. Literally, we care. Literally, our audiences care. You may not care. I mean, that really speaks more to your insecurity as to how much people might agree with you, or you think that people might disagree with you. To say nobody cares. That's literally a chud tactic. They do that all the time. I don't know if that's what you're trying to do here. I'm just saying that lots of people care, but you're right about what, you know, the things that are happening in the world, the destruction happening in the world in our country right now. You're right that, you know, it is what it is. You know, like I'm not happy with Star Trek right now, but not for any of the reasons that Chuds would say.
Yeah, I feel like destruction is such a big word. I think it's been proven that these large IPs are a lot more resilient than we think they are. So all it takes is one good movie. You know what I mean? Like or one good TV show. That's really all it takes. If you've got like 5 bad things you put out, because I have a feeling Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man are going to do really good this year. And they're going to be like, oh, the MCU is back. So it never really went anywhere. It's just that some of the stuff you might not like as much as the other.
Go fight Disney after 10 years. I mean, why would I was watching Wonder Man this morning. It's fucking phenomenal. Have you seen it?
Oh my God. We are about 5 episodes into it. I'm going to finish it after
I honestly wasn't expecting much, I guess, but like I forget that it's a Marvel thing.
It feels like an A24 TV show. Like it's very like art heavy focus. Like it's you can tell that this had a point of view, that it had a vision that and keep in mind they apparently Marvel was thinking of a tax write-off for the show because they're rebooting everything after Secret Wars, but they just decided to go ahead and release it anyway. What a gem. Like they should have been doing stuff like this like a year ago. They should have been pushing harder into this weird like one-off stories like a year ago.
The use of like the meta use of the character, which totally makes sense for the character in the comics, you know, like it's not like it's betraying anything. It's just taking a very specific and kind of twist on the character, the actor, and the fact that also he's always been a little bit tossed aside, the character of Wonder Man, as far as superheroes go. They put him through the ringer in the comics. They haven't known what to do with him a lot and stuff like that. But then just fucking Trevor Slattery, man, is honestly one of my favorite characters now. After watching Iron Man 3 again at Christmas and then watching this, I'm like, I love Trevor Slattery. It's fucking awesome. I mean, he's a terrible guy, at least in Iron Man 3, but like, you know, his redemption's good, right?
Somebody pointed out that a lot of these characters like Trevor have been in more Marvel projects than characters like Shang-Chi and, you know, Captain Marvel and stuff like that. He's been in more things.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, Trevor Slattery is kind of like one of those characters, kind of like, just like Phil Coulson, where it's like they wrote him to play a specific role in a thing. And then it turned out that they got a great actor that you know resonated, and you know they were like, you know what, we can do a lot with this. So,
I'm excited. Like I said, we're gonna finish it tonight because I want to talk about it tomorrow on my stream. But yeah, it's really
5
good.
episodes in. I don't
That's
know
where we are.
Anything superhero, like more superhero-y. I hope it doesn't, but if it does, I hope it's good. You know what I mean? Like
I've heard spoilers that aren't really spoilers, but there's no like big predictable like final battle moment in the show, which is good.
Okay, well, I mean that's good. That's good to know, man. I just curious why you would be cynical about what we do as talking about it and pushing back against it. Whenever we hear all the time from people that are grateful that we do this, and I understand, like, dude, if you're cynical to it because you're just been seeing it for so long and you're tired of it, that makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? Maybe our streams talking about this stuff isn't the best thing for you, but we talk about other stuff as well. Eric does. He does, great content talking about just the media and shit. But I mean, it's not a pointless fight. I think if anything, there's no way to prove if any of us had how much effect any of us individually or collectively have had about chuds and their content. But it's, could be a correlation isn't causation, but about the same time period that we got on the scene and started pushing back and coming together and working together and stuff like that, their content started diminishing. So, I
mean, when you have somebody like The Quartering come out and admit that their channel isn't doing well and then calls out other large channels saying, like, look, the math is mathing. You know what I mean? And trust me, The Quartering is a piece of shit, garbage human being that doesn't deserve the platform he has. But I believe that he does keep track of his metrics.
Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on when you talk about him. He is probably the most, realistic, at least, about his metrics, and honest about it anyway. But like, this is a good example right here.
It's a good take. This is a good take because
Can't believe
I've been saying this. Like, it's a visual gag. I don't think it's going to even look. I think we're going to see the shot as we see it right here. We're going to see him miserable at work, and that is the visual gag. That's the gag. I
personally think this was done to kind of trap, guys like JDA who definitely fell for it.
Yeah.
At this point, if you think that studios don't put stuff out like this, knowing full well it's going to get that chud response, you're kind of naive about how studios and marketing works, right? You know what I mean? Like, they definitely know it's going to get some people doing their stupid, freak out over it. And that really only benefits it in most cases. I mean, yeah, there's some examples like Acolyte where I think they were able to, successfully fucking inorganically astroturf a reaction movement that had a negative effect on the show. But I mean, not to say the show was great, because I've said before that I didn't actually love it either.
But also, I think you can have referential humor that isn't offensive. Like what they don't understand is this is a funny joke, right? Yeah. This is a joke that even I, as progressive as I am, I think this is funny. It's a funny joke. It's a funny gag, right? I get it. It's a joke that everybody should be able to laugh at, is the point. But they don't like it because it isn't so directly offensive. You know what I mean? They want it to be offensive.
Gender,
yeah.
Like,
his name is, he's pronoun, and pronoun gender. Yeah. Like, I just don't understand. Like, there's a lot of stand-up comedians, and I think we've talked about this before, that joke about issues with the queer community who might not be queer, but the jokes are smart, they're intelligent, and they're not directly offensive. You can do it. It's just that these guys are so juvenile fucking in their mentality that they just, to them, like, high school locker room humor is the only thing they understand.
So I was just reminded of a kind of sketch that I came up with a couple of years ago that I actually asked, quite a handful of Hispanic friends about it. Like, what would they think about this kind of thing? Would this be out of line or whatever? And the joke being that, like, how I've heard from many Hispanic people who don't like the phrase Latinx, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like a white person made up thing, right?
I've heard that, yeah.
And I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just saying that's because I've heard that. It made me think, what if there was a sketch, like a little comedy sketch of like the Latinx men, but it's Professor X and he's just normal Professor X. He's white, but he's got a bunch of Latinx men or whatever, and he introduces them as that. And they're like, each one of them is like a version of a character that we know, but they're Latina or Latino. And they come out and he's like, this is my Latinx men, and they're just like, don't call us that. Don't call us that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can make fun of. There's things to make fun of. It doesn't have, like, I've got fucking clips I could show, but we don't need to get too deep into it. There is, let's see. What else do we have to talk about?
I mean, there's Ilhan Omar getting sprayed at a town hall after Trump.
I wanted to cover a few, kind of less intense, maybe some fun stuff real quick. So we're talking about.
I'm just naming off things that popped up in the news today.
So you know who Kaylin Sacedo, Mars Girl is?
Yes.
She is in Wonder Man.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. Congratulations to her.
Canon in the MCU.
Oh, there's did we look at this last week, or maybe I only looked at it on Sunday or Friday? But these
I wasn't here if you looked at it. So
pieces by Tim Doyle. He is a award-winning comic book artist. He's done these 3 that I know of. What I like about these is that they are completely in character. It's not like he's just taking some characters and making them do stuff that they wouldn't do. Absolutely, every one of these characters wouldn't do this shit. So, fun stuff. Oh, it's Ryan. What's up? Ryan?
I can't hear him.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, it's weird. Hello. Yeah, wanted to join in as you were talking about Wonder Man, which I've been enjoying. I'm a little further than you, but I haven't quite finished yet. But yeah, I never thought these TV shows, the way they use the Great Lakes Avengers.
Oh God, Doorman! Holy shit! I don't want to spoil anything, but I was fucking kicking myself about that shit.
That didn't spoil me because I actually saw the news that he was going to be on the show. Like,
okay, I did not.
I had no idea. No,
I spoiled myself too much, I guess.
Doorman, and it was actually done really well, and it was written, folded into the story to make sense, and more consequences about like superheroes within this real world is also another positive for the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the things that they set up quite a bit of in movies, but didn't really explore a whole lot of yet.
I mean, we've had Mr. Immortal in She-Hulk, Doorman in this. It's just a shame that I don't think we'll be getting any more for a while, because although if they do get Flatman into the Punisher presentation.
Nate says here. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was to say the feel about rumors about Magneto being played by a black actor. I don't think these are real. I don't think it's real. I mean, I don't even know if I would have an issue. I think I've said before that Magneto as a character has a backstory that I think works specifically for his motivations, like why he's doing what he's doing, and they could change that to someone else of a different race or different background.
I think on the Fabcast we've talked pretty extensively about possible, more updated versions of that.
Yeah, they could do it. I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze, though. I feel like, like they did with Fantastic Four, they decided we're not going to make this like regular Earth. We want to give them an Earth that feels like it's an Earth they came from because of how intrinsically connected they are to that era.
Yeah,
and it worked for me. I don't think Fantastic Four was like a 10 out of 10 movie, but I think it definitely it was the right choice by making it more of like a out of time sort of film. And with Magneto, I would love for them to take some risk creatively with Magneto. I don't necessarily know if changing Magneto to a black guy would, for me, be the biggest risk. It feels more predictable, honestly. I think there's other risks.
It's not that black Jewish people don't. It's that it's more of him being a Holocaust survivor. As long as it's been now, never forget. But at the same time, like, dude, how old? Ian McKellen was. he's pretty old already. And,
look, I'm not totally against. I'm never against the concept of a race or gender swap unless it's changing something about a character that is part of their story, like something that makes it's important to them. I've always said my rule of thumb is if I name 5 important things about a character and none of them are their race or gender, then it doesn't matter to me from a story perspective. The 5 most important things about them.
Look, if you're too fucking stupid, by the way, to not do fucking, JQ, fucking, global fucking cabal of Jews running the world bullshit in our chat, you're just going to be banned forever. And first time, I don't give a fuck. So just a warning to anybody, except for that guy that didn't get a warning, he's gone.
So for me, I wouldn't put my foot down and say, no, I refuse. I always give something an opportunity. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. I think it's just really weird to get mad about that stuff proactively, unless the identity of that character is an important factor to their story.
Yeah, I mean, the difficulty they've got, obviously, is that Magneto really wasn't the right age in the original X-Men films, because those were supposed to be set in the near future anyway. So he would have been at least in his late 70s when those films were supposed to be made, and now he would have to be in his 90s for it to work. So if they're going straight down the line normal sort of chronology, they can't use the Holocaust as his character background. You just can't. It's not like the Punisher where America's always at war, so he can be a veteran of Vietnam, he can be a veteran of Afghanistan.
Well, in the comics, they've solved that issue now in the comics, because Reed Richards was also originally a Vietnam vet, as well as Frank Castle. Obviously, their experiences were quite different, but nonetheless, and then eventually they were both, more Afghanistan, Middle East veterans, and now they've actually created some fictional war that based on fictional countries or whatever that they're just going to use from now on for Frank, for Reed.
Something DC has done for years, creating like fictional things that didn't happen.
So I was curious about this, by the way, too. If anybody is aware, I thought that the spotlights were just going to be like the Werewolf by Night, like 45-minute kind of.
I assume it's because they binge dropped it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They binge dropped it, and there's no intention to move forward with any of the story. I think everything we have sitting on the shelf right now that hasn't done anything will not matter post Secret Wars. I think whatever happens after Doomsday is going to be important. Everything before Doomsday is pretty much done. So anything that doesn't survive, they can just write it off as being destroyed in the incursions. That's what I think is going to happen.
As it gets closer, maybe we can start trying to do like a stream where we do some theorizing and talk about what we think might happen, because there's stuff that I've said for a long time I want to get away from the Foxman universe as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I understand if they're doing it, they probably have something good in mind that they're going to really send them out. I recognize there's plenty of characters that did not get their due. Cyclops being primary. So I hope.
Well, I think those characters are going to get killed off in Doomsday. I think we won't see them after Doomsday.
It's like, man, Cyclops just did not get a break in those original films.
I think that's the problem with the X-Men as films anyway, though, and it's too expensive to do as a series. But in order to highlight those characters, they need like a film each, which I know was Fox's original plan when they did X-Men Origins, The Rise of Wolverine, or whatever that was called. I know it had a ridiculous title, but yeah, that was their big plan. Unfortunately, they made a really bad film to start with, because they were supposed to do a Magneto one. I don't know if you guys remember.
That was actually folded into first.
No. Before.
Oh, with Ian McKellen.
He probably would have bookended it, but it was supposed to be an origin story.
But they folded it into X-Men First Class, though. That was like.
Oh yeah. But originally, it was supposed to be a standalone film, so.
It's gonna be kind of messy. I feel like they have so much to do between the two movies, to clean up any loose ends. But with the DCU, we have leftovers from the DCEU that just kind of got folded into the DCU, which has confused a lot of people. Some of it even confuses me, and I watch all this stuff. But I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't understand. It. But I actually look forward to a sort of cleaner reboot-ish for the MCU that feels like they have a better idea of what they're doing. Because phases 4 and 5, I have a whole essay video coming out on that next week, but phases 4 and 5, they kind of were rudderless a little bit in some of the stuff they were doing, and I don't think that's necessarily a problem until you start forgetting that characters exist and just never bring them back again. And
I think the simplest explanation for why they did what they did with once they post Endgame was that they mistook their financial success for like commensurate fandom that was like okay, now everybody's completely on board and going to give us goodwill to experiment with stuff and be patient with us and stuff like that. And I think that was just a mistake, thinking that was going to be the case, because
yeah, I think they basically they flooded their own market, because I enjoy all the characters they introduced, but then I always enjoyed it when those characters first cropped up in the comics I was reading. They would see a cameo from
partly the Disney Plus thing. Disney Plus leaned on them pretty heavily because of the pandemic and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, where do you end? Because obviously the Iron Man story was ended, the Captain America story ended, but Thor's story wasn't ended, and so
he deserves a better ending, though. I think.
Well, yeah, and then after the success of Ragnarok, he was like, well, obviously we're going to make another one. Everybody loved it, and we all love making it. And then that sort of fell down on its sort of bogged down by its own backstory.
Well, you know, their explanation for it anyway, and Kevin Feige, is that basically he got spread too thin around that time. Basically, he was you know, he was overseeing everything, but he was not able to focus on everything the way that he had previously because there was too much going on. So
rather than like in the first, basically, if you look at the first phase as kind of a blueprint, even though they didn't really know what they were doing with that because they rushed Iron Man 2 out. So there was no real structure there. But
they didn't know what they were doing, except it was like movie by movie. Whereas like it seemed like they didn't know what they were doing overall after Endgame. You know what I mean? With movie by movie, you can kind of adjust, and they had to, like the one shot, like what was it? They kind of expanded on the after was it Thunderbolt Ross and Iron Man, Tony Stark meeting up, and like that explained why. You know, because at first you think that at the end of, what was it, Hulk, that he's asking to use he's going to try and ask to use Hulk for the Avengers, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or for what they ended up doing. So they kind of retconned it to be like he was actually asking about Abomination, and they got, you know, Stark to do it because they wanted him to mess it up. You know what I mean? So like, you know, they fixed little things like that, but then you've got too many balls in the air, and you're just trying to tie all those balls into a larger overall thing. Then yeah, the cracks start to show a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so
I think it would definitely be worth a stream as we get closer to the to all of that.
By the way, everybody delete your TikToks.
Oh, mine's gone already. I never really used it anyway.
Account, just delete it.
I think I made like 20 videos on it and then I abandoned it. I went to log in to delete stuff and it says you have to accept our new terms of service. I was like, nope.
You can get around that in order to delete your.
Oh, can you?
Essentially, the day after it changed hands to the Ellisons, you know, now it's like it's blocking any kind of critical of Israel content. It's blocking Epstein content. So,
yeah, if I saw a thing on Blue Sky, if you want to delete your account without agreeing to the new TOC, you can get around it and delete your account without agreeing to the new terms and conditions. So. Do that. And I would say, unless you really need it, get rid of Twitter as well. I know, Eric, you use it quite a lot for your live streams, so it's tough, but
yeah, it's also
I've actually cut back on it. I usually pull the articles up if I can now to try and not use it as much. My issue isn't really getting rid of Twitter because I honestly, it's rage bait, but it's that I can't find anything that allows me to bookmark stories easily like Twitter does. Threads doesn't do it. I'd use Threads, but Threads doesn't have bookmarks. I don't. Can I ask for a website that allows me to like bookmark stories? Like that's all I want is a website. Reddit's not good at it either. The save feature on Reddit is annoying.
You can save posts on Blue Sky.
Yeah, but Blue Sky doesn't have all of the information. That's the problem. Is it's a combination of. I want something separate. Like I want to be able to go on Google to websites and not have to leave 1,000 tabs open. Is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, this was always the myth about like, oh, anybody can just compete. Well, no, you can't, because if you've got 10 Twitter-like sites, unless you're on all 10 of them, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of journalists that are not on the others, or are on Threads but not Blue Sky, or Blue Sky but not Threads.
Yeah.
So
Henry Cavill and Highlander.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I've always felt that the Highlander kind of sucked in execution, and I always thought I like the premise, I like the lore to a degree, but I just, you know, I think it deserves another shot. But
well, I'm going to be level with everybody here. I love the first Highlander film, but it sucks. It's also terrible.
It's kind of both.
If it didn't have the Queen soundtrack. Yeah, if it didn't have the Queen soundtrack, it would probably suck even more.
What was with Queen, like, putting their, you know, we're going to make fucking amazing soundtracks to just terrible movies. That's fun.
I mean, Flash
but
Gordon, you feel like it completely suits their aesthetic, but yeah, Highlander is a bit. But
you would think,
yeah, great cast.
You would think that there could be only one image released, but there's actually two. So
Oh well,
I was never a huge Highlander fan. Like I watched the first movie, but I didn't really watch much after that. I like Henry Cavill. I just don't. I don't see him in a lot of like. I don't know. I can't see him as he doesn't do a good job of like looking like other characters. He's got a very specific look that they have trouble changing. Even in
like
Witcher,
the mustache in that Mission Impossible movie,
that's probably the biggest change he had.
You know?
Arguably, that's probably the biggest change he had. Even in Witcher with that wig on, it never really looked like it was his hair. You know what I mean? And it's just like I don't think he does a good job of transforming into the characters he's playing. I like him. He seems like a nice guy. He's done a lot of good things for charity and stuff. I don't know. I think you're right. The mustache thing was probably the biggest transformation.
And I think he also had a mustache in that the gentleman was the Inglourious Bastards knockoff kind of movie.
I never saw that one. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
The knockoff one.
If you like the violence and Nazi killing of Inglourious Bastards, and you just want to kind of get rid of a lot of the Tarantino-isms other than that, and just see straight up Nazi murder, that's where it's at.
And he's good. He's good in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but he is Henry Cavill in it, which works because Robert Vaughn, I think, was Robert Vaughn in it in the original, so it kind of works that aesthetic. Yeah. But yeah, Highlander's a weird one because if you think of Christophe Lambert, I mean, apart from his weird Scottish accent at the beginning, he's just supposed to be like a normal guy, and he loses a lot. He doesn't really do that well throughout the film. So, yeah.
There we go. That's what I always forget the exact name of that movie off when I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head.
I was going to say The League of Distinguished Gentlemen, but that's like combining several of them.
I mean, I'd honestly recommend the movie if you're ever, looking for something kind of, to be cathartic considering things going on in the world today. It's a good one.
But yeah, I also feel like this Highlander, there's no way it's not going to be a franchise. So once again, that there can be only one thing is...
There can be only one 10-movie franchise is what they're going to...
It should be one film, though, because the whole point is the last one is the one that gets all the power. So how do you do sequels to a film?
I mean, I can see if they set it up well, where there's like, they could do a trilogy where they set up a handful of guys that kind of, maybe don't even make an appearance in the first one, some of them, and they kind of just have to... I mean, I could see a story built around that, but...
I mean, in theory, but then you've got at least two films that end unsatisfactorily, where he's just beating the generic villain as opposed to winning the prize.
I mean, I think he was great in that 10-second cameo, and that's all he's ever going to be in. So that's cool. I liked it.
And again, that was fine for a joke, but I would never want to see him recast.
I also hate that I hold this against him, but the Snyder cult has kind of ruined him for me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to get that, because I recognize in those movies that he could have been the iconic Superman given the right material. I still feel like that's true.
Yeah.
He just
I agree with them on that, but I hate that they've just pushed so hard against everything because it just...
Well, yeah, because they think that was the iconic Superman, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, well, here's a quick thing. This is a interesting point to make about some fiction content.
Look at this woman screaming as Jason is breaking into her tent. She's only making Jason more afraid. You can see the look on Jason's face beneath the hockey mask. He's terrified. These Jedi children are being so violent, and they're only fighting the Imperial troops because of this liberal hoax called Order 66, which Emperor Palpatine has never even heard of. Am I right? Anakin Skywalker is probably terrified right now. Why is Cassie running away from Diddy? She's only making Diddy more afraid.
Last one not being fiction.
Walter Matheson, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty, he gets away with a lot of content because it seems like people think he's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of comes up as a...
He's got like a stand-up comedy vibe to him.
Yeah.
Is he a comedian, or is he just like a podcaster? I feel like he has to have some sort of stand-up background. I don't know. He's really good at it.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen him in something that was fictional, but maybe.
Come on, guys. Come on. Gotta be better than that. Recognize sarcasm. What else we got? Oh, there was this that I saw of yours earlier, Eric, that I hadn't really, because I didn't finish Stranger Things. So I didn't really start past the first episode of the last season watching it, but
scene was actually done in the 80s. People have been like, I can't even look at you because I'm going to be gay, you know.
So in other words, you're admitting here that homophobia existed in the 80s, and here you are expressing homophobia about a scene from 2025 that is supposed to show that we could have a better world if people love and support the person that is coming out. So your issue with it is they didn't beat him up and he didn't get gay bashed. So it's not that he came out, it's that they didn't gay bash him. That's your problem with it. You have a fucking issue, man. You need seek therapy. Okay, I'm being generous here. If you have an emotional issue with gay people, yes, seek therapy. But I actually I don't know if I believe that or not. Full stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so their channel's not doing well at all, right?
No, not at all. Side Scrollers is struggling. Like, they'll throw anything at the wall at this point.
That's such a... I really don't know even how they can begin to justify these sorts of takes around that Stranger Things skin. Because I think I pointed out when I was on Ant's stream that they had a lesbian character 2 seasons earlier introduced. And in this one, she's got a girlfriend.
But Will should be gay bashed. Is essentially what they're saying.
Yeah, because that's what everybody did in the 80s. Because as we all know, in the 80s, there were no out gay people because if they were, they got beaten up.
I already debunked it. I looked at the history of the area that he's from, and back in the 80s, they were doing pride events. So these guys don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then in same video, they were saying in the 90s, was it some guy named Phoenix, I think is his name, that joins them every once in a while? In the 90s, gay people just wanted to assimilate. No, we didn't fucking want to assimilate. What the fuck are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what does that even mean? You want to assimilate?
What do you mean that they just wanted to not make it known that they were gay? Is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah, I guess live in the closet. I have no fucking clue. Gay people have always wanted to just be treated equally. That's it. That's the big fucking agenda, is we just want to be treated equally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The assimilation you wanted in the 90s was gay marriage. That was assimilation.
It's the same exact thing that I used to hear people say all the time, which was like, oh, I don't care if you're gay, but like, oh, well, you got to kiss a guy in public or something like that. You know what I mean?
Some dumb shit like that. I have a very easy rebuttal for people that don't understand what it's like, and I've said this before here on the stream, but it's been a long time. If you go into a movie with a date, do you worry about whether or not holding your date's hand is going to get you beat up? And if your answer to that is no, then congratulations, you understand what it's like to not receive equal treatment in society. It's a very simple concept. If I can't hold my partner's hand in a movie without fear that somebody in that movie theater might beat us up when we leave, which is a real thing that happens, then we're existing in 2 different value systems in society.
Yeah, I saw that Movies with Mark put a video out on him. I have no doubt that it's excellent because his videos always are, but man, I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. I was like, oh.
A video on what? What was the video?
On Side Scroller.
Oh, yeah.
I worry about Mark's mental health at the moment because he's doing some great videos, but kind of he's covering
I feel like he's doing pretty good as far as like spacing them out. Like he does one of these his normal. He seems to have
not me. I do 2 a day.
Well, we know you're.
I'm gonna
normal reviews and stuff, and then that's good. Like, I'm glad he hasn't got out of that. So.
Yeah, I feel bad because he does all the editing and stuff. I can't imagine sitting and doing all that editing and dealing with that, like the long form stuff. I can't do it. Dude got a clout gaming space because of Screw Attack.
I guess I imagine that Movies with Mark goes into that because that's just what his
I mean, they did, so about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, they did a 1-week stream where they invited a bunch of people from their podcast to their house, I guess, in Florida. And it was an IRL 24-hour stream to raise $30,000 to fight back against the woke. What does that even mean? What does that mean? We need 30 grand to fight back against the woke. No, you need 30 grand because your channel isn't performing well.
I mean, that critical drinker video that we really didn't get too much to last time, but you did in your video on it, where he went on that fucking GB News or whatever. And is that what it's called? GB News?
Yeah.
And they're literally saying that, like, oh, acting like Amazon Prime has made some kind of anti-woke stance. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, like, they've got
no. This was the irony. Paramount Plus has made
Paramount Plus. That's what it was.
Stance against the Paramount Plus show Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Paramount Plus are fighting with themselves over wokeness. Or they're just making two different shows.
Well, not only that, but they're struggling. Barry Weiss did a whole thing like yesterday or day before where she was like, if we don't turn this thing around, the network is going to die in record time, basically. Nobody wants to watch propaganda shit. Like, especially, why would you try and bring your audience over to a network that you have villainized for a decade? And it's also competing with Fox, so you're thinning the herd at that point. Because there's only but so many hours a day that people can consume media.
I think the somewhat, a little bit of concern that I have, I don't know that it's really going to work, but I would say that the thing they might be trying to do is kind of backdoor more Fox News, type ideas into what's perceived by some as mainstream media. So, like, basically because Fox News viewership is dying off. You know what I mean? Like, they still doing well generally, but most of their audience is fucking old. And
I think it's basically anything that's not a roundtable talk show is just falling off a cliff for them. Like, they have to have like talking heads around a table. Pretty much everything they do now is like a 3 to 4 person table read of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And their power.
Go ahead, sorry, Ryan.
Their power has always been that they're the only right-wing news channel, and they can make it as sensationalist as possible because they don't consider themselves a news channel 90% of the time. So they're basically appealing to all Republicans, and all the other news channels was appealing to everybody else. So that's where their success comes from.
I also want to point out Paramount Plus, they kept using that Landman show, right? To prove that it was, that this is anti-woke Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus hosts every season of RuPaul's Drag Race, as well as other spinoffs of RuPaul's Drag Race from around the world. So you mean to tell me that it's fighting back against woke by having one of the biggest gay shows of all time as one of their flagship TV shows that draws in, I think it was like 20% of people say that is their one show, because everybody has like one show they really subscribe to a streaming service for. RuPaul's Drag Race is one of those shows. Star Trek is one of those franchises. I think they said was 30% of people that have Paramount Plus watch Star Trek. The anti-woke stuff can't compete with that. There's no alternative to that for these streaming services. So if they were to like try and get rid of that, it would get scooped up immediately by someone else, and they would just lose all of those viewers.
Yep.
And if the clip I've seen of that scene in Landman is anything to go by, I can't recommend that show.
No, it's bad.
It's really bad, man. We can maybe check that out in a little bit if you guys want to, but I mean, it's so fucking bad.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any point in going over it on stream. People can seek it out for themselves on YouTube if you just want to see the clip that GB News story was about.
It's bad. It's so bad.
It's called Ainsley meets. Is that the one we're talking about?
Ainsley meets Pagan. Yeah.
Meets the roommate. Yeah.
Which, by the way, whoever wrote that doesn't understand. So the person that wrote it makes Ainsley, the conservative girl, sound like an idiot, and makes Pagan sound like an insufferable, like, predictable liberal person on the internet. Like, none of it feels real. It feels like a skit for like Saturday Night Live. It's bad.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I said on Discord that like that would have been a viral hit in like 2017 in the way that they want it to be. You know what I mean? That was back when the anti-SJW shit was at fucking peak, and and now I think even most people that think of that stuff as woke or whatever would probably recognize that as like that's trying a little too hard, with that fucking woke character.
When you're talking about they, that's not a singular, it's plural. No, they is also singular. It's so fucking stupid. The scene is so dumb.
How does she not know what a ferret or a weasel is?
Right. The whole scene.
Yeah.
If you honestly, you guys look at like anybody in the chat, look up the Ainsley and Pagan scene from Landman, and the whole thing is there. as an independent scene. It's one of the worst things I've seen.
Yeah, you can tell they put it out there. They're proud of it, right?
Yeah. Tyler Sheridan, who created it, is leaving Paramount Plus for Universal. So you're losing they're losing an anti-woke content creator for their network to go somewhere else. And just to before we move on from this, Paramount and CBS are doing so badly with their own streaming service as a whole that they are now selling IPs to stream on Netflix. Like there's shows that should be on Paramount Plus that will now be on Netflix. The competitor to go after Warner Brothers.
Let's see. So I've got oh, I shared the wrong damn screen again. Let me try this one more time.
Nitrib says Ainsley and the trans character play caricatures. That's fine, but if that's the case, then it's supposed to be seen as humor, which is why it doesn't make sense
and it's
to
not
use
fun.
it as
I mean,
an
like once you got to the part where it was like, honestly, a lot of the stuff that pagan character was saying, like if I was in college and I was, stuck with this roommate, I could probably adapt to pretty much everything except for the music is bad for your mental. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, we got a problem right now. If music is bad for your mental health, like,
yeah,
I'm not going to make fun of you for it, but I just don't think that we are compatible whatsoever because it's kind of the opposite for me.
Where the writing crosses the line into being just completely ridiculous, because when has that been a sort of stereotypical leftist view that music is bad? Or music mostly is liberal.
And then Ainsley is like, giving a bad example to like how to communicate with your partner and stuff like that too. She's like, oh, I just, stroke it and then I pretend to pass out so I don't have to put that in my mouth or whatever. And it's like, what the fuck? That's terrible. That's don't do that. It isn't anti-woke at all, though. The Chud's completely misinterpreted the scene. I mean,
no, I believe you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that
I kind of feel like it is, though, because like there's been, I saw a video on it, and I actually watched one episode of the thing, and Billy Bob Thornton's doing a great job at it. Like they're paying him, and he's giving them a good performance to be a fucking oil, propagandist essentially. They spend a lot of what I saw. God damn it. There goes my screen again. They spent a lot of what I saw about it. You guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just got like trying to push back on oil's not that bad. And it's actually, they need oil. We need oil and blah, blah, blah. And, trying to undermine, undermine electric, and wind and solar and stuff like that. It's just.
Well, Nitrium here says the two become friends in the very next episode. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
It goes back to the as thing. It's like selectively pulling things out to make it seem like it's worse than it is or better than it is, I guess.
And that honestly, that wouldn't at all surprise me because I feel like that's what they were going for. I just think the scene is really poorly written.
It doesn't change the fact the writing's bad. Yeah.
Just using the broadest of stereotypes and even creating stereotypes that don't actually exist in the real world and making both characters just seem dumb and naive. And so to argue that it's some sort of win for the anti-wokes is ridiculous. But
I'll be right back.
So, Ryan, are you familiar with the author Brandon Sanderson?
Vaguely, yeah. I know he's a Mormon fantasy writer, right?
Apparently, he was considered at one point like very anti-woke, I guess, by a lot of people.
Yeah, although I believe that that's not the case as far as his actual sort of right. I think a lot of people tied that to him just because he was a Mormon.
Yeah. Well, he's apparently his book, the Cosmere, I guess, has been picked up as a series for Apple TV Plus. I'm not too familiar with it, but Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, he's the guy that took over for what's the name? Terry Pratchett. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I just remember. Was that right or wrong?
No, he's a bit more serious, I think. I don't think because Terry Pratchett's a satirist who writes fantasy, whereas I think he's more in between J.K. Rowling and George R.R. Martin. It's sort of PG Game of Thrones stuff, I think. But
yeah, I think this is the case. Sketchy's got it right. Like I remember hearing the name with the Chuds and being mad that he wasn't as anti-woke as they thought he was, I guess.
No, he's made statements at conventions and things like that, supporting
Wheel of Time.
various...
Thank you, David. That's what I was confusing.
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, yeah, that's yeah, he's made various statements over the years, sort of being supportive of marginalized communities. Basically, he's one of those Mormons that well, isn't Shadiversity, basically. So yeah, they tried to immediately sort of tie their...
Yeah, I just saw it pop up that his book is being picked up, or his book universe is being picked up by Apple TV, which doesn't surprise me. He's got a lot of books, so
yeah,
and he's still writing, unlike some of the writers out there who've just taken a long break.
There seems to be there's like this. I don't know if it's a new, but it's I just kind of stumbled upon it recently. This new to me, anyway, kind of subgenre of fantasy and science fiction and stuff that's like very comedic heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And like absurdity, there's like there's a guy named, he goes by Shirtaloon, that writes some, I mean, it sounds pretty funny. I haven't really gotten into it yet, but then looking at his stuff got me, looking at other stuff about, man, I'd have to look these up, but like, it just seems kind of interesting. I wish I had more time maybe I should do Audible on it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems kind of fun. And
did we want to go ahead and jump into the Eric July stuff if you have that?
Yeah, I was going to ask one of you guys would mind, or Eric, if you would mind sharing that video from your end, so that.
All right. Which one specifically did you want to look at?
It's the ice one. Because he's done a lot of coping about being called out about his Nazi takes too. I've seen, but it's the.
You were using YouTube, right? That's where you pulled it from.
Okay. Before we do that, here's something we could kind of lead into it with a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it won't play it for me. Let me try again.
First of all, when these people come out and go, Tim's a bootlicker for defending us, I'm like, no, you misunderstand. It's my boots. It's mine. I voted for them. I'm wearing the boot. I'm stomping on the ground. I ain't licking anybody. I'm clapping for these people that I said, please go out and enforce the law. And anybody else who's cheering for it, who voted for it too, we're all wearing the boots. You're the one crying. You're the one saying you're coming. Simply. First of all,
cool take, man.
These guys are getting funded for all. By the way, I want to point out there's a lot of people, even Nick Fuentes, who have changed their position on stuff in the last couple of weeks because Republicans are worried about midterms. So a lot of these guys are getting big fat paychecks now to change their position on stuff.
Well, I just want to say too, by the way, that when these people talk about they're enforcing the law. I saw a video yesterday that made a really great point. We should stop calling them ICE, because we should call them what the acronym stands for, because that highlights the absurdity of what's going on here. In immigration customs enforcement.
Right.
Is a necessary thing to have. We've had it in this country for a long ass time. But it's only now being literally, they're wearing $4,000 per man of fucking gear, and Marines aren't.
It's the most funded agency in history in the United States right now. Like inside the United States,
pretty much every other military in the world almost.
Yeah.
And it's absurd that these people typically, they really don't have jurisdiction to do the things they're doing. That's why that's really pissing them off, is that people are kind of like people that know that, like Alex Preddy, and they're just like treating them with the fucking disdain and mockery that they deserve, and they fucking lose their shit over it.
I was having some discussions about this before we watched the Eric July video, but we have to understand there's two groups running around right now that are doing this stuff, and they're almost, you can't tell the difference between them, which is Border Patrol and ICE, right? You can't tell the difference. They're essentially functioning as just Trump's private police force. That's
100%. Yeah, I mean, Border Patrol is supposed to, it's right there in the name. They're not supposed to be, I think, something like 100, 200 miles away from a border doing anything.
Right. But also, if think about this for a second, and this goes out to all the people who are supporting this. If Border Patrol is all the way inside an interior city in the United States, who's watching the border? That's what Border Patrol is supposed to do. They're only supposed to come inland if they're following some sort of case, but that's not what's happened. Trump has literally just said, go into the city and harass people, murder people. Like, that's what I want you to do. I want you to go in and do these things. And by the way, Trump has also says he doesn't think people should be able to carry guns. How's that feel for the 2A people? How are you rationalizing that?
From one of them who's actually before we watch that, let's show a couple of quick images.
Okay.
Past takes of Mr. July. So here is one. Keep in mind, this man Trump that literally violated your beloved Second Amendment. Yet he's claiming Massey is empowering Democrats to do the same. This was 2020.
Right.
Okay. So literally criticizing Trump for, even suggesting something, negative about the Second Amendment.
That boy, I don't even think we're going to have to wait for the midterms. Let me tell you why. I think there's a creeping concern from Republicans, and we're seeing it in the House, and it's going into the Senate now as well, that if they don't do something, and nothing drives Republicans' agenda more than self-preservation, right? That's what they're more worried about than anything. They're seeing in special elections all over the country that they are losing. The Republicans are dropping out. There was a Republican in Minnesota who dropped out of the race because of this. Like, I think we're going to see changes before that. And if the Democrats keep their spine about them, this funding for ICE will end with this next bill. Like they're trying to get more money for ICE again and packaging it into another bill. And it looks like it's going to die in the Senate. So, yeah, I saw that, Tony. Exactly. Yeah, they're so worried about the midterms. They know this is it. Which is why I said they're funding money to like people like Tim Pool and fucking Nick Fuentes who are getting these checks behind the scenes. Because Nick Fuentes all of a sudden is now, Epstein is based and stuff like that. Like, why is he switching up his rhetoric on pivoting on it?
Yep. I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
That just a year ago, basically, that Epstein was the most important thing for, to figure out or whatever. Here's this, would you be okay with a black guy walking around with an AR-15? Yes. Okay. What about Kyle Rittenhouse? Recent post initially angered many. Since then, possibly due to backlash, he's adjusted his position. This is a great time to discuss Trump and the Second Amendment. And he goes on to, talk about Trump being whatever. It's just fucking.
Well, keep in mind, Eric July actually had a fight with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers because he's not a Trump person.
Right. Well, but he's a libertarian, right? But wait. So here's a Libertarian Party, and we know he's said before he's not part of the Libertarian Party, but I mean, it's just like his definitions for fucking token or whatever, where it's like in legacy character. He's just making up his own definitions for things, and nobody else agrees with him. So he's not a libertarian by any fucking measure that most people understand, and he's definitely not how the Libertarian Party understands because they're very much against what's going on with ICE. There they are, so he's just an island of his own in every way. So yeah, let's check out that video and see exactly how he justifies what he says.
Oh, do you have it there? You want me to pull it up?
I'll pull it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, I guess
I got it. Hold on, I got it. I was trying to find the screen. I got a lot of windows open. All right.
So many people have messaged me and tagged me in posts asking me about my thoughts. And
by the way, I want to point out how unserious must you be to be dressed like this talking about a subject. Like he's in a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
But anyway.
On everything going on in Minnesota, there's been a shooting and all this other shit.
Also, I want to point out that he's
what I'm about to say is
literally did race swapped Mario down there in the corner.
Oh, true. So. You shouldn't race swap legacy characters. Like, that's not good.
It's very similar to if you followed me during the whole 2020 Summer of Love. What I am going to say is very, very similar to the sentiment of the position that I took there.
Go ahead and pause it real quick, too. I also want to point out that in clips that I have, I could pull up of him talking to Bob Chaos in their legendary debate. That he explains to Bob that his political position essentially boils down to being his principle is the non-aggression principle, which libertarians various ways use that to say that that they see the government as a state-run gang. That's a phrase that he's used many times, a state-run gang, and that essentially they're just the legal gang. There's no different than any kind of roving gang that's got their because they have guns and they have the power, they can tell you to do what give us your property, do whatever we want. And he doesn't believe in that. He thinks that is tyranny. That's why he's a libertarian who wants to just reduce, quote unquote, he's a libertarian that wants to reduce government down to essentially only protecting private property.
Yep. He like one of the most extreme versions of a libertarian, honestly. Tony the Hat was promoting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just say this video proves that he doesn't actually believe in that.
Yeah. So he was promoting a book about pirates, I think, when he was doing this. But I don't think it's good to go into a subject like this when you're doing a promotion stream for a book. Of course he can do it, but this is ridiculous. We're watching him dressed as a pirate. So
I think that if you enter in the political,
the shirt doesn't even fit.
If you enter
everybody is
whatever the
forced to.
fuck that means. What does he mean by that?
Hold on, I'm gonna hear that again.
I think that if you enter in the political arena, everybody is forced to manage things beyond, like the conversation beyond simple principles.
No, they're not.
Ideology alone isn't really worth salt when it comes to engaging in a more national, especially on social media, but a more national conversation.
Does he just say words and thinks that like it sounds like a
No, I believe that I can kind of give what he's trying to convey. I think he is trying to convey something specific here, and I just think it's really bad. And
he's not able to articulate what he's trying to say because he's just using big words.
That's because what he's trying to say, if he said it straight, would sound really, really bad.
Yep.
If he just said it in normal words.
Oh, so he
still says it with the same words that would eventually betray his real feelings anyway. So let's just keep going for a minute.
Yeah. Hold on. He talks too slowly. Hold on. I'm not gonna go too fast, but yeah, he's a slow talker.
Conversation about a very specific issue. So I'm all about strategy. You've heard me talk about that, and so I do have my principles of what I believe in, and I don't run away from those by any means.
But you're going to.
He's about to.
Yeah, you're going to. This is setting up that he's going to.
And I often lead with
it. Worth salt. That's right, because the phrase is worth their salt. Worth its salt. It's not just worth salt. That's not.
I think this is something where a lot of both conservatives and especially libertarians, fellow libertarians, get wrong.
Aren't libertarians just a different type of conservative, typically?
Not technically, but in America, most of libertarians value.
Where we're at right now, conservatism seems to have become, techno-libertarianism with, that's used the, neocon and other aesthetics to kind of get to where we are right now. Like what they're trying to do is create a techno-libertarian monarchism kind of situation.
I don't think I've ever met a libertarian that has any of the values I have as a more progressive person. I've just never met
in the US they're very rare because I don't want to get too bogged down, but the idea is basically a libertarian believes in sort of very small government, and in a socialist society that would also be true. But when the Republicans say they want small government, what they mean is they want government doing what they want to do, not all that stuff that helps people. So so it's stupid, basically.
Libertarianism
element of
libertarian anarchism was like a leftist, ideology that was more about the individuals being allowed to be whoever the fuck they want to be, and like literally, it's everything that conservatism is against now.
I mean, Eric is like a lot of people have questioned Eric's whole stance on gay and trans people as a libertarian because it doesn't make sense to want to control what gay and trans people do if you are a libertarian. That doesn't make any sense.
The party has also come out against the way that the trans people have been treated in this country. So that's another way that he breaks completely and opposite with them.
Yeah.
Of entering into a national conversation because they are so obsessed in their principles. And when you know what happens when you don't consider strategy is you can oftentimes get less liberty.
That super chat is funny. He's like, "Hey, Captain,"
over obsessed. Goddamn dogs. Over obsessed with their principles. No, man, your principles aren't something that you're supposed to be obsessed with. They're supposed to be your fucking foundation for how you operate.
Right.
And the fact that he's acting like it's just something to throw away or set aside for strategy's sake. For example, I was always of the opinion that Epstein was clearly guilty of some fucking heinous shit, and that whoever was part of that, whoever was found out to be part of that, left, right, middle, my own fucking grandfather, I don't care, needs to fucking go to prison.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. They, on the other hand, they pretended that was a principle, not him necessarily, I don't know, but like chuds in general, the right. And then as soon as it became clear that Trump was the fucking player number 2 in the fucking Epstein files, they were like, well, they get real fucking quiet about it, and they're all on board with this distraction ICE invasion and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what happens whenever you don't actually have a principle. Another thing would be, the way he goes on to say here is that basically the leftists are leading the conversation about this anti-ICE thing. Therefore, you shouldn't get involved with it even though you are anti-ICE or federal agency. Or
right.
Therefore, you should just stay out of it. When it's like, dude, no. Marjorie Taylor Greene fucking, I don't care what her motives for it are, but she fucking pivoted and started going, at Trump and the Epstein files in the right way. She she really wants to see this shit dealt with. I'm not going to fucking be friends with her. I'm not going to trust her beyond anything, else, but I'm not going to go, oh wait, no, Marjorie Taylor Greene's leading this conversation. I'm not going to fucking push for the Epstein files to be released. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking, it's weak. What? It's the most soft-spined, cowardly, pussy, dishonest shit I've ever fucking seen.
And he seems to be conflating principles with just like stuff I think. So I think rich people should be taxed more, but it's not a core principle, because if there was another way of making sure that poor people weren't poor, fine, do that. The principle is that nobody should suffer. That's the principle. The way I would think to do that would be tax rich people more, give it to the poor. But that's not a principle. But here he's just like, yeah, principles, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's be willing to get rid of them.
Sorry. Explain myself by talking about this situation right here. Right now, the conversation with ICE and immigration is being, by and large, the opposition group is controlled by leftists, not libertarians.
I don't think he also says leftist specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Leftism is a smaller portion of a left of right group. Like it's he acts like there's between the middle and leftists, there's a large group of people who also don't like what ICE is doing.
Anybody that's not just whatever the fuck he claims to be is a socialist, essentially. That's why.
I mean, leftist is a very specific group.
Yeah, but it's vague enough in its wording, because this is why I don't like leftists, because it's not a particularly good way of describing people, because like he's using it to mean anyone left of Donald Trump, basically, which is obviously incorrect. Whereas people who self-describe as leftists would probably be closer to communists, socialists, social democrats, somewhere in that area. So he's just being deceitful and sneaky.
Yeah, it's whatever you think of as the most evil version of not conservative, whether you think it's the wokies or the communists or the socialists or the whatever, the liberals, Democrats, all of those fit under leftists in his audience's shrinking audience.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, and I want people in the chat to understand this, leftists, as I know them, and feel free to correct me, are primarily a communistic group that want the abolition of all of government. They want all the means of production in every aspect to go to local communities, and the local communities control all of that themselves.
Well, that's communism more really, but so that's
but that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I said. I think a lot of leftists believe that, or at least a version of that.
So after spending, I've been online, and whenever I started making YouTube content, I didn't consider myself a leftist. It was only like people started referring to me that, and I was like, oh, I was just starting to kind of learn about the different avenues of more past progressive Democrat, which is kind of how I saw myself originally. I was like, oh, there's other things that I can explore here and learn about without adopting anything. I'm not going to adopt anything that doesn't seem reasonable to me. And so I, made friends with communists and socialists, self-describe these things anyway. And I found out that there's many of them that disagree with each other, even about what a communist is, what a socialist is. There's many of them that disagree what a leftist is. And it's like those things, those become arbitrary to me.
Yeah.
And to me, it's, the only utility they really have in most cases is for people like him to fucking demonize anybody with humanist values. So that's really how I see myself, as a humanist, and
I would say I consider myself like progressive liberal humanist. That's where I would fall into, in my
and so I think
my
that's
core
the
values.
most fucking use that you can get out of that type of term is if you're a rightoid, a chud grifter who's trying to make it so that whatever your motive is, but that's the most useful way to use it.
I just think it's very deceitful for him and anybody in his space to just use leftist as a blanket term, because it's not a correct assertion of the people that are anti-ICE.
Yeah, but that's the point as well, isn't it? Yeah. That's why he's doing it, because his entire argument here falls down when you compare it to any other sort of situation throughout history. I mean, if you look at gay rights and say, well, we might think that gay rights is a good thing, but the leftists have really got the argument on that, so let's really go against it.
Yeah, that's true. So imagine, think about is there anything that you truly believe? Anybody listening to this, is there anything that you believe in as like a core principle that you have that you would go, but people I don't like because they believe other stuff, they're also they're for this one thing too. So I'm just gonna not get involved with trying to make that happen. You know, and he seems to suggest it's like a slippery slope that if you just, are anti-ICE, that somehow that's gonna ultimately lead to being pro-tyranny in some way. Like if you're actually anti-tyranny of ICE, that somehow that leads to tyranny in his mind. It's fucking nonsense.
Yeah. We got a $2 super chat from Johnny Bravo. EJ licks the boot now. I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. I added the I tell you for a dramatic effect, but I feel like that's where we go next with that. All right, let's hear what he has to say now that he's tried to just say that only leftists are anti-ICE.
Not people that value private property rights. Socialistic leftists are the ones that are leading.
So leaving out the communistic leftists, just the socialistic leftists. Okay, glad he cleared that up.
In charge.
Hang on. Bearing in mind, he's talking about that don't respect private property rights. Whose private property rights were infringed when that shooting happened? The guy with the camera, the guy filming them, his private property rights.
Yeah.
So really, Eric should be completely backing that guy's rights to not just own a gun, private property, but own the camera.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to jump too far in it, but I just feel like anybody, because I think we have a little bit more in this video to go through, but I just feel like anybody that watches what happened and believes that the ends justify whatever was going on has something wrong with their fucking brain. That's well,
and to kind of prove that, just real quick, one more aside I wanted to do is so because he's made his claim there that it's leftists and socialists that are leading. Let's check out r/centrist.
All right,
on Reddit. There we go. r/centrist. Preddy. Why was he attacked? Before the shooting, he was attacked. This is centrists. Helping someone who had been pepper sprayed. I do not see this as a reason to gang pile on him. Did I miss something? And then you end up with a bunch of people that are ostensibly centrists. We're the ones that have to keep our composure and remain sangroid at all times, yet law enforcement, are the ones with the guns and can lose their goddamn minds at the drop of a hat. Law enforcement should be more trained and reserved, right? At least in the world's greatest country. Law enforcement need to be consistently subject to meaningful consequences when they abuse their positions. These are centrists. These are not fucking socialists. You know what I mean? These are not fucking crazy leftists. These are people that are struggling with the fact that they have, you'll see them several of them. They're like, man, I don't know. I know that the left can be kind of crazy sometimes, but they were kind of right about this even back in 2020. There's several people admitting that here. Mm-hmm. That they didn't think that it was there was a problem with the cops. They didn't think there was such an issue. Of course, now it's a white guy that's been gunned down and a white woman. So
I was saying it's going to take someone that looks like them for them to realize that there's a problem. You know what I mean? We saw this as a problem again back in 2020. So
if you guys want to check this out, go to r/centrist. You can see what centrists are saying about it.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to this.
I mean, is he really claiming that the handful of Republicans that have spoken out about this are socialists? There is only a handful.
I mean, look, let's not forget, he still works for Blaze Media.
Yeah.
He's still on fucking contract with Blaze Media. We don't know what that contract entails. In fact, if I'd say maybe if we wanted to do anything more with Eric July as far as content, we could kind of unify on a fucking, push him to share his contract with this kind of thing. Like, what does your contract say, man? What's it say? And just fucking bug him until he maybe does it. But, because this just seems fucking overtly, boot licking. Look, it's MAGA with extra steps. That's all he's ever really been, is MAGA with extra steps. He represents the people. There's a grifter for everybody, whether it's like somebody that you see yourself as I was a liberal, even though they really weren't, but that's what Tim Pool represents. He represents the people that thought of themselves as not conservative, but then they've been brainwashed by anti-SJW content and whatnot, and now they need somebody to kind of guide them over to the right. And look where Tim Pool is now, right? And same thing with him. He's for the fucking, people that consider themselves libertarians or whatever and don't want to, a Republican brand is like not cool, right? Because everybody knows fucking that. And so, yeah, he that's who he's there for. There's a grifter for every fucking walk of life.
I just looked this up. This is really interesting. So Blaze Media only has salaried roles. They don't do, there's no indication, according to Google here, that Blaze Media runs a per article or per contribution payment revenue share system, which means that if you're working for Blaze, you're working for Blaze. They have an annual pay range for employees that go between $45,000 to $75,000 a year, $60,000 to $100,000 a year for producers. These are all contracted role. There is no casual pay piece or gig work with Blaze Media, according to what Google says. So if you work for Blaze, you are getting money from them like a regular paycheck. So,
yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I mean, I get what you're saying. I hope you don't mean that. That doesn't mean work that way for you. But like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Generally, that it was easier for them to, kind of dismiss that as the regime goes. But I just learned something that's kind of interesting and fucked up. Jonathan Ross, the man who killed Renee Nicole Good, his previous wife before the I think she's Filipino wife that he has now. She left him for a woman.
Oh.
And then you look at, Renee's wife was just dressing him down like a fucking, stupid little bitch right before he decided to fire 3 shots into the vehicle. That kind of paints a picture, I feel like, and then he fires 3 shots and then calls her a fucking bitch after he just killed her.
The medical examiner says the 3rd shot is the one that most likely killed her too, which is one of them, which is the forearm,
the second one was through the right breast, and the third one was through the face.
Yes. So if you want to argue that the first shot was done because he feared for his life, it probably wouldn't have killed her. She would have been hurt. Probably wouldn't have killed her. But then the second 2 shots are from the side of the vehicle, and they were shot with intent to kill. Because why would you keep shooting into a vehicle like that if you were not doing it to kill the person who was in the vehicle driving away from you? Yep. Why would you do that? There's no argument for that.
There's an argument for the first shot being still not standard operating procedure, still a big fuck up on his part.
Actually, it's a violation, Dane. Right. It's like he wasn't supposed to be in front of the vehicle, and you're not supposed to fire it at moving vehicles.
He panicked and flipped out, right? Like there's a case that could be made for that one shot if that's where it stopped. But the second 2, clear intention there.
There's no justification for it, because the reason why and for anybody in the chat who might not be typing or engaging that is like, MAGA or whatever. The reason why you don't do it is shooting someone who is behind the wheel of a car is much more dangerous than just letting them drive away. Yeah. That is why those policies exist within the agency.
After that fucking car, she, her foot went dead on the fucking gas, and she probably got up to 35 miles an hour almost before she slammed into that car on the side of the road.
Right.
I mean, it's got to
stand there.
It's got to the point now where in the UK, if a police car is chasing another vehicle, they will stop chasing it once it goes over a certain speed because it's more dangerous to chase it.
Yes.
I think it's different state by state in the US, but
yes, it is. It's different in states, yeah. But the point is, they had her license plate. They knew they could have found her. She lived in the neighborhood. She lived in the neighborhood that she was in.
But I mean, the fact was she wasn't even doing anything illegal.
No, they keep saying, "Oh, she was blocking traffic." She was not blocking traffic. People were driving. An ICE vehicle literally drives past her vehicle because there's a whole lane open in front of her.
And then they got out, right? Like that. By the way, this is the second time that Jonathan Ross circled her vehicle. The second time that he put himself in front of her fucking front wheels. Also, I meant to point this out earlier when I was talking about how absurd it is that ICE is customs and immigration. Those are civil offenses.
All of them are. Yeah. Overstaying your visa and stuff in here is literally a civil penalty. It's not a criminal penalty.
Why the fuck are these fucking untrained for literally only getting 47 days of training in some cases for the new guys? Fucking many of them almost certainly, definitely January 6ers, fucking Oath Keepers, 3%ers, Proud Boys, Boogaloo Boys. They're all in there for sure.
And by the way, they're still under the numbers from Obama and Biden when it comes to deportation. Mm-hmm. They're under the numbers. Biden did over 4 million, it might be like 4.5 million deportations, which is why Stephen Miller says we have to have 3,000 people a day out of here, because they knew in that first year, last year, they needed to get at least 1 million if they were going to be on track to beat Biden. Guess what? They got less than 700,000. Which means they're already below Biden's totals. And Biden didn't have to do all this.
Biden only went after actual convicted criminals and people who, I don't think anybody would argue that we want to keep them in the country if they have a fucking record. You know what I mean? That's what these chuds act like. Is we're all just like, yeah, we want the rapists and the
I don't even like Biden. That's the thing. People are like, oh, you're defending. I don't even really like Biden. He was just okay. He was a inoffensive man that was in the White House for a few years. Like, he wasn't like my guy. You know what I mean? But he had a higher deportation record, and Obama had a higher deportation record than Donald Trump did on both of his terms so far. He's on track to go less than Obama did. So all of this doesn't mean any, like, this is literally why people have a problem with it. You could deport people at a faster rate if you weren't doing this.
The only record that Trump is ever going to break of Obama's is, unarmed civilian deaths by federal agents, and then also just children raped.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
But I also want to point out before we hit play on this, people were like, oh, well, there was open borders when Biden was in office, but they were here illegally. How the fuck are they here illegally if he had legal open borders? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Open borders, we've never had open borders. We've never been
no, but they always argue, they're always like, oh, well, he just had open borders. Well, if you had open borders, then they're here legally.
Well, this is a good example, by the way, of why my content is changing and doing the modern audience, which we're streaming on that channel, by the way. Go official modern audience as the YouTube handle and subscribe to that. We're about to hit 300 subs. We're trying to build it up there slowly but surely. But nonetheless, the reason that I'm broadening from just talking about chuds is because that is a perfect example of how these things are exactly the same. Whether you're talking about them saying that, force is female because they're avoiding the fucking context of what it actually was, or they're just using for, let's say the message, right? Or woke or whatever the fuck it is, meaning whatever the fuck people want it to mean. Open borders is just a fucking bad faith term that was successfully, injected into the fucking discourse, and mindless idiots glommed onto it, believe that's a real thing, and that got them a lot of traction. That's what I really want people to start thinking about, is that whether it's chuds in fandom or chuds in government, they're all doing the same fucking bullshit bad faith tactics because they think you're fucking stupid. So anyway.
All right, we good to go?
Yep.
Let's see what else he's got to say.
This conversation. To not pay attention to that is politically retarded, for lack of better terms. And fundamentally,
for lack of better terms. So you couldn't think of a better term than that.
Best term we could literally come up with.
What a wordsmith he is.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who has, been, guilty of saying the word a few times, I know for a fact that I didn't even take a moment to think of something better. And that's just because I was being lazy that I said that. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure he says it all the time anyway. So he's like, for lack of better term, like you couldn't come up with something better.
Broken of a strategy, if you consider it one. So it doesn't matter how you feel about enforcement agencies that are connected to.
It actually does matter a lot. It's how you feel about them does matter a lot. It's a big part of it. So
I wonder if he has ever thought about the difference between, ends justify the means or not, because that's literally what he's doing, is saying, but not even that. It's almost stupider than that. It's God damn it.
I don't understand it.
All right.
All right.
The government, it doesn't matter how you feel about even immigration for that matter.
It does matter.
If you are someone that values liberty, it is extremely important that you understand you don't control the conversation right now being had about ICE.
Now, draw us a line between those two things, dipshit. Draw us a line between who controls the conversation being somehow a negative outcome to the thing that you claim you want to actually happen, which is less tyranny in the federal government.
But he's also saying that it doesn't matter how you feel, when how you feel would form how your opinion is about the current conversation that's happening. So that doesn't even make any sense on his side.
Just think about it. If you favor liberty, you should support Trump's private army, killing American citizens and denying them of their constitutional rights. If you support liberty.
Because the people that you believe are your enemies are actually controlling the conversation, even though I'm not proving that. And also, it's so fucking stupid, it's beyond.
Nothing controls the conversation about Pretty's murder. The video footage does.
Right.
Which is the truth. So what's controlling the conversation?
You notice he's not talking about that at all. He's not getting into detail of that.
Yeah. The truth in the face of the government's lies is what's controlling them. That's what's controlling the narrative. The truth.
Nor the law enforcement, ICE inherently is law enforcement, but you get what I'm saying.
It's not your
It's actually not the same thing. He's not wrong. It is a form of law enforcement, but it is civil law and it's federal. It's not local. Like ICE can't just stop you because you don't have your headlights on. You know what I mean? Like that's not what they do. They have to have they used to have a reasonable cause for harassing you and talking to you. But now the Supreme Court's like, oh, racial profiling is we're cool with that. So
another thing I wanted to kind of hit on about this too, so the government seems to be backtracking on this to a degree anyway. Like you've got Noam trying to throw everybody under the bus today.
Yeah, saying everything she does is because of Miller and Trump, which is funny because now she's actually saying the part out loud that Miller is directing people as if he is Trump.
Which, this goes to show they are still, they may act like they don't give a shit about public pressure and public backlash, but there is a degree of it that will fucking work.
That's why Bovino got fired, basically. Because they're trying to preserve their asses.
I don't take that as them like learning a lesson necessarily. They might.
No. It like you said, though, public pressure is causing them to like preserve themselves. Like they're trying to find a way to preserve themselves.
The Second Amendment. I'm not a like 100% or nothing motherfucker. Like I believe that we do. The Second Amendment does matter, especially now that there's just we're so flooded with guns in this country that I think it's kind of silly to not have that as an option for yourself if you feel unsafe or whatever. And leftists are actually more pro 2A than the right likes to paint them anyway. But that's neither here nor there. Point being that the way that they immediately came out after Alex Preddy was clearly executed with his hands on the floor, on the ground, and his back to the fucking people that shot him multiple times. The way that them saying that he just had a gun on him and extra magazines, he was there to massacre people. Okay, I want to talk about the word T-O. What does that mean? It's intent. There is an amazing story that I have. I've told it before on stream. It's one of the coolest things I've ever fucking seen in my life. I had a good friend named James back in the day. He got a ticket so he was driving and he came up on a red light where it was like he was going to turn right, but there was a bunch of cars that were not turning right in the right-hand lane, right? So he didn't want to wait on them. And he also didn't have a seatbelt on. So he turned into this parking lot for like a little shopping center that was right there to put on a seatbelt. And then just bypass all those cars that were waiting, and then pull out the other side of the the parking lot onto the road he was trying to get to. He did all that, and a cop saw it. Cop didn't see him necessarily put on a seatbelt. I don't know, but like, point being, he got pulled over. He got a ticket. The ticket said that he had turned into this parking lot to avoid a red light. My friend James was he was a pretty smart guy and also kind of a snarky asshole. I loved him. He challenged the ticket, and when you do that, the cop has to show up in court, right? Otherwise, if the cop doesn't show up, then you don't have to pay for the ticket. Cop shows up in court. He represented himself, my friend James, in this fucking baggy, kind of crappy looking suit that he wore, and he called the cop on the stand and asked him. First he defined the word "to" as indicates intent, right? And then he says, "Sir, how did you know what my intent was? Are you a psychic?" And the cop had to say no. He did not have to pay for the ticket. He did not have to pay for his court costs. It was fucking thrown out. And that was one of the coolest things I've ever fucking seen. Because a cop has to prove intent. And just owning a gun, Second Amendment law, or Second Amendment constitutional law, and then also Minnesota state law, showing that he was legally allowed to carry that gun. He didn't even fucking pull it out or anything. They pulled it out for him, right? And then they're going to say that he was there to massacre people? That's so fucking egregious and fucking dystopian, dude.
And Stephen Miller had to walk that back today or yesterday. Yeah. He was like, "Oh no, maybe I spoke too soon," saying he was an assassin. You think? You think you spoke too soon? Even if he's there being belligerent and screaming and yelling and stuff like that, none of that constitutes murdering him.
Nope.
They didn't even try to arrest him.
I mean, obviously, as a Brit, we'd have completely different gun laws, but my fundamental issue with the Second Amendment has always been the situation we're in now, where if it was always, what would you do if your government turned against you? You'd have no way of defending yourself. And I'm like, these are the same people who are not defending themselves against the government turning against them now. Whether they see that the government is turning against them or not, this should be a clear case of it. The government is turning against somebody exercising their Second Amendment rights.
They literally had
whether you agree with
in fucking the hearings last week or a couple weeks ago. sitting there in the VIP section that the Republicans could choose to, sits there. The head of the Oath Keepers, who wasn't pardoned for January 6th, he was commuted, meaning he's still a convicted of seditious treason, which is, only a handful of motherfuckers have had that in modern history. And there he was, still a convict of that crime, sitting there in the VIP section of the Republicans, hearing, trying to devalue Jack Smith's testimony and shit.
That's so weird though, because I thought Republicans didn't bring like weapons and stuff with them on protests. So January the 6th wasn't a protest because there were a lot of people with weapons there. Were the police? Would the police have been okay if they just opened fire on everybody at Jan 6 who had a weapon of any kind in their hand? Yeah. That seems to be what the government's saying now.
All right, ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Conversation. It's not your movement and those that are leading the charge. And if they ultimately get their way, are not interested in adhering to your principles at all. For you to not understand that, again, is politically retarded, strategically stupid,
for lack of a better term,
and a very easy way to lose.
So in other words, he's saying even if you have the same goal, you shouldn't work with people because they might have some different goals than you do, is what he's suggesting here. That it's better to just go along with the status quo, essentially.
This is a way to not lose. It's also a way to never win.
Right.
Like if you just applied this tactic to literally anything, basically, you're gonna always find people that agree with you who don't agree with you on other shit.
Like, hey, we both hate Nazis. Maybe we should work together to stop the Nazis, even though you and I might agree on how to fund, welfare programs. You know what I mean? Like,
win somehow. Right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me to go, hey, we disagree on some policy issues, but the fascism, we should just not work together to stop that.
Yeah, I mean, the simple fact is this. Eric July is a paid employee of Blaze Media, which is Glenn Beck, who doesn't own it directly, but he's the owner of its parent company, which is another way that he's fucking, weaseled around the facts before. Mm-hmm. And he's got a directive. He's got things that he's supposed to support and be against. And, the fact is he's just MAGA. He may not think of himself as that. He may even have deluded himself into thinking what he's saying makes sense. But he is simply just a fucking tool for, he's tap dancing for Glenn Beck. That's it.
I mean, it's such a foolish thing to say, yeah. Or just let fascism in because the guys who don't want fascism want to give you free healthcare.
Right. Do we want to watch the rest of this, or is there more to it, or is that pretty much his entire?
I mean, I honestly didn't watch but more than a minute and a half or 2 minutes. That's all.
Okay. I feel like he's made it. So the thing is, we've already watched like 4 minutes of it, and he's essentially just said, hey, you should follow the fascist because if you follow the people fighting fascism, you may have some policy differences.
You might have to pay higher taxes.
Right. It just doesn't.
What it
doesn't
really
make
is,
sense.
He wants the exact same thing that the Trump administration and all the billionaires want right now. He wants them to basically topple any shred of fucking actual liberty for individuals and individual rights. They want to fucking prioritize property and essentially the ability to make money at the expense of humans' rights. That's all it is. A libertarian, true libertarianism just leads to basically feudalism at best and slavery at worst.
I think it's even simpler than that. I think he just wants to feel powerful because he's not. And he tried doing that by getting money, and that's failing because he's talentless.
I see what you sent over here, Ryan. Let me pull this up for a second.
Yeah, this is the kind of people that Eric July thinks you should be in support of.
Ex-ICE officer pleads guilty to SA immigrant in custody. And this is not this story might be one that's been fact checked, but we've been hearing about this for a while now, and they've even said that they can't stop it from happening, essentially. But if you scroll down here, it says a former detention officer from Immigration and Customs Enforcement faculty in Louisiana has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a Nicaraguan woman over several months while she was in prison. Federal prosecutors called it a romantic relationship. I'm sure that it was very romantic since she was locked up and she had nowhere else to go. David Corvell, 56, entered a guilty plea. So he didn't even say he wasn't guilty. He's like, I did it. There's no way to get out of this. in federal court Monday. He was charged with a single count of sexual abuse of ward or individual in federal custody, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 15 years and a fine of up to $250,000. In May, Corvell and the victim participated in sexual conduct on multiple occasions, smuggled gifts such as food. Food is a gift now in these detention centers. Jewelry, letters, and pictures.
Also, letters and pictures.
Yeah. Corvell arranged for lookouts to avoid detection. So there were other people in this organization, ICE, that were doing that. They were looking out for him. And I'm wondering if anything's going to happen to them. Staff at the faculty spotted the pair coming out of a janitorial closet in July, and officials immediately transferred Corvell to a different unit. He resigned from his position later that month because he was only doing it to hook up with this woman that was literally locked up. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to see if there's anything else about this. By the way, I want to point out that we have people in detentions and concentration camps, we should say, who are freezing to death now because they're in states where there's not enough heat in these spaces for them, that they're freezing to death. And some people who need medications can't get them because even though we're approving funding to lock them up, there's no funding there to give them medication. So people are also dying because they don't have their health care they need to live in these detention centers.
I think if you read the paragraph that starts for profit, I think that's an important one as well.
For-profit contractors operate roughly 90% of all ICE detention centers. All but one of Louisiana's 9 faculty facilities, I guess, are run by private prison firms, including Geo Group, which reported third quarter revenue in 2025 of $682.3 million, roughly $80 million more than it netted at the same point 1 year earlier. This is another thing: is all of these centers that are for profit, they exist because Trump wants to pay people to lock folks up. That's why.
And they're being paid with taxpayers' money. That's
yes.
So all of that Doge business at the start of last year, where they were looking for incidents of fraud and didn't find any, and your taxpayer dollar is willingly going to these private companies to lock people up where this can happen.
It also came out that Doge basically was a scheme to do all kinds of insidious things and ended up selling our personal information to the black market, I guess, whoever wanted it.
That seemed obvious to me when it was happening. That was where, and I don't think the damage of that whole Doge thing will be known fully until
we get a new administration or a new Congress, basically.
So there's the Elon Omar thing that we could look at that I just think is, telling, but also, look, I was pretty neutral on her. I didn't really have like a feeling either way on her politics other than she seemed progressive enough. Now I think she's a fucking badass. She's got a fan now. But I wanted to read, first of all, standwithminnesota.com is a website you can go to where you can literally donate to the front lines. It's got whatever thing that you are most concerned about, you can donate directly to that cause. So rental relief, mutual aid, food support, pet and animal, union member, donate materials, diaper fund, contraceptive fund. And then there's crowdfunding campaigns for individuals and families, schools, students, communities, employees. So standwithminnesota.com. I'll drop that in the chat. Did you guys hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about this one.
So this is a story of a thing that happened, I think it was the day before, maybe. I think it was Friday of last week before Freddie was killed. So it kind of got, swept under. But it's about 2 women, Tippy Admonson, 39, and Heather Zimian, 55, who were arrested protesting ICE in Brooklyn Park, detained by federal agents, and they were being taken to the Whipple building. And there was 2 guys in the front, 1 behind them. Guy in the passenger seat started having a seizure, ICE agent. They didn't know the other guys didn't know what to do. These women started saying, they apparently have training and CPR and stuff. They knew what was going on. They said, you need to pull over and let us help them. After yelling at them a little bit, they finally did. They pulled over, came to a rest at an angle on the sidewalk, just off a busy stretch. Admonson could hear the agent's tongue and fluids blocking his airway, so she asked to be uncuffed. He's going to stop breathing, she told him. She was a kindergarten teacher, received CPR, first aid training. The agent stepped out of the vehicle, leaving the driver's door open, the engine running and the keys inside, and weapons were in reach. guess what these women did? They saved this man's life. She ran to the other around the car and knelt beside the agent, turning him on his side, spoke to him calmly, telling him he was safe. Began to lose consciousness. She moved his gun from its holster so she could position him properly. She cradled his head as another seizure came. Simeon, a personal care attendant, grabbed one of the agent's tactical vests from the ground, rolled it up and slid it under his head to keep his airway open. They told the agents to shut the car door so he wouldn't lose body heat. He had 2 more seizures after that. So they saved his life. First responders showed up and they asked, "Can we just go home?" She said, "We just saved his life. Is that cool with you?" They said no. On the drive, she asked if they could be allowed to call a lawyer. After a pause, or first he said, they should be able to call it Whipple. After a pause, he added that because they'd helped one of the agents, they could call one person. So they called their attorney. Attorney and state representatives started making arrangements to go meet them there. Commanding officer eventually approached them, and we're releasing you to your counsel and to your state representative, according to Amundsen, and said, "But you need to tell everybody that we treated you kindly." They were driven to the front of the Whipple building and released in their representative's car. And what stayed with Amundsen most, she said, was not the adrenaline of the moment, but the realization that came while she was holding the agent's head in her hands, keeping his airway open. "I was hit so hard with the fact this man would not do this for me." And then her mind went immediately to Renee Good. That's the difference between, the sides here.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the difference.
Well, I got about 10 minutes left in me for the stream. I don't know how much more we have to cover today.
I mean, we don't have to cover a whole lot, but this was, it's something to look at real quick.
Omar, are you okay?
I'm gonna go figure if I am, but I feel okay. I feel that it is important for people.
So as you see in the bottom here, she was giving a speech. She had literally just said that Trump needs to be impeached and removed. So the first part is after the fact. I'll just go frame by frame here so you can see on the bottom what happened. She's speaking. The man's sitting there in the front. He just gets up, sprays her with something, says, "You need to be removed," or whatever. So you can see there it's a syringe with some type of brownish yellow liquid in there that he's got.
He's also a conservative. I think it's been confirmed he's a conservative guy who has a lot of liberal family members. So he seems to have felt very like this was probably an act of just emotional breakdown, I guess, of dealing with that. But it doesn't excuse it. I'm just saying, like, people are sharing pictures of him with his daughters and his wife or whatever, and saying, "Oh, well, look, he had liberal people in his life." That doesn't mean anything. Like, that doesn't mean that he's why would a liberal person go and do this and get arrested? That doesn't make any sense.
No. As Bob the Old Ways said at one point earlier in Discord, he said that she's not just for rights, she's also for lefts. Watch her response here.
They are in elected office or not.
Make a hole. I want to, before I do go, though, I have a video from Piers Morgan where we have a panel of people talking about this incident, and we can already see the spin that is happening with this.
Oh, God. Well, just real quick, by the way, her people were saying, "We need to get you checked out, take you, get looked at." They don't know what was sprayed on her and stuff. She said, "I'm fine. I'm not letting these motherfuckers take me out right now," or whatever. She's like, we need all that fight right now, with more people than just her. But yeah, what you got?
Here we go. Let's do this. All right, we've seen the clip, but we're going to watch this whole portion.
What has concerned me about this is that from Donald Trump, and I think you have intimated this too, there's an immediate position by people on the MAGA right that because you don't like Ilhan Omar, that she somehow has staged this, it's not real, it didn't happen the way people think it did, this guy was a plant, and so on. And again, it comes back to what I sense is a complete eradication of basic humanity. There ought to be parameters between left and right where we can just agree when something like that happens, we all say this is terrible and shouldn't be happening.
I can't believe Piers Morgan said that, because I mean he's had some really bad takes over the years, but more recently he seems to be like the right is now cuckoo land, for lack of a better term. It's like crazy world. And it seems to me like he's still more right-leaning in terms of like American politics. But I think the more human stuff, that like the humanity stuff that's going on, is what's bugging him.
What I gather from him is that he's everything that he is wrong about comes from being transphobic. It seems like to me.
Yes.
So like,
I mean, that's a lot of it. Yeah.
Like, so when it comes to the anti-woke stuff, that to me is informed in his mind by the trans people are going overboard and stuff like that. So that's just, but I haven't done like a deep dive on him either.
Well, the thing about Piers Morgan, obviously, I knew him before he got to the States, is that he's the very, very definition of middle. So he's middle class, middle aged, middle of the road,
middle talent,
middling in talent, and ability. And so he walks this line where he will embrace, where his version of centrism is he will embrace stuff from the left and the right, although he tends right more because he's middle-aged. That's his. So he thinks everything should be like it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And he got himself into trouble by pushing too far to the left. Like, he got fired from his job as editor of the Daily Mirror because he published fake photos of British servicemen torturing Iraqi prisoners. So that's sort of his villain origin story. But he's great mates with Trump, and I think that is always going to be what defines his stupider opinions as well. He's transphobic, and he's great friends with Trump, and because they are friends, he struggles to see the bad.
Now I know in this panel, the person next to Piers, I believe, is Tim Miller, and then on the far end is Brian Tyler Cohen. I don't recognize the two guys in the middle, though.
I'm pretty certain both of those guys are going to be chuds, just based on what...
All right.
Pierce, there's no jump to conclusion. I don't care about none of these people. They don't pay my bills. I don't have to say anything about Ilhan Omar. I don't really care about her. But the bottom line, and Donald Trump don't pay my bills either. But the bottom line is that I'm looking at this impartially. I don't know what anybody said. I saw the video, and it does not look consistent with someone trying to assault another person, which means I have never in my life seen a person get up, spray something out of syringe at someone's chest. It happened to be nothing inert.
Well, we don't know yet because they're still looking into it.
It says it was pig urine. If it was pig urine, that's definitely Islamophobic fucking thing.
Oh, is this guy Brandon Tatum? Is that his name? I think that's who this is. Somebody in the chat said Officer Tatum. Yeah, I think that's who this is.
If it was pig urine, that was almost certainly chosen because Muslims are famously known for not wanting to consume any kind or have anything to do with pigs. And
although it's still stupid.
But the thing about it is, in the United States, I don't, in my state anyway, if I walk up to somebody and spray them with something, that is technically assault. And where I am.
Yeah, whatever it is, just if it's water.
It is assault. Doing anything against someone's person, without consent can be technically assault. Now, I mean,
so what he's saying doesn't even make sense. It doesn't matter what's in it. The action of doing it is legally considered assault.
Never mind that the first thing out of that dude's mouth basically confirmed what Pierce said, which was, I don't care about this person. I don't care about them. Pierce literally said that this, all kind of lends towards like a lack of humanity, lack of whatever way he phrased it.
But the other issue is, though, and I hate to do the what if situation, but if you normalize this, then what if the next person puts something dangerous in that syringe? Yeah. Once you've established that this is not a big deal, then the next person might go, well, I'm going to take it a step further because I was able to get away with it.
I mean, I'm sure you guys remember the anthrax sort of attacks in the 90s.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was just a white powder that they sent. So did they not take that seriously? Because, oh no, it's just from flour, so we're not going to investigate this. Whoever did it, they just sent us some flour in the post.
Yeah. Let's see what the pushback is on this.
And then she comes after him. You didn't see her back away from him. You didn't see her shy away from him. You didn't see any of that
Brandon,
nature.
You would
and
say,
the guy didn't even resist.
Brandon, you would say the complete opposite if that was a Republican.
Congressman.
That's not true.
Brandon, is the guy going to jail just for fun?
That's not true.
Is the guy going to jail just for fun? Is that part of the show? I just want to hear a little bit more about this theory. No, please, just 1 second. There's just a question. I want to hear more about.
Should he go to jail just for fun?
I'm giving you the elements.
Is he going to jail for show? He's going to jail.
I'm giving you elements of why this looks strange to me.
Okay, so why do you think he's going to jail? Is he like Antifa? Is this part of like is this the lizard people?
Listen, was there anything in the syringe? It was inert. There was nothing poisonous. There was no pepper spray. There was nothing in the syringe to
I'm
start
asking
with.
you why you think he's going to jail for this.
He sprays her with the syringe.
See, what this guy is doing is he's doing what a lot of these talking heads do. He will not answer the question. The person is going to jail, which means he's met the legal standard for assault. So all this argument about what's in the syringe is an irrelevant conversation. It doesn't mean anything in the context of the law.
In the chest, she goes after him. If you're afraid of somebody spraying you with a chemical agent, you're not going to pursue them. He resisted not one bit. He goes to the ground. She says,
so you don't believe it, do you, Brandon? You don't believe it?
I don't think that this was, I think this was staged.
Of course. Of course. Like,
I mean,
anytime something happens to somebody on the left, it's staged. It's not real, you know? It's
right.
so
if you see the reason he goes to the floor, it's because there's a giant security guard grabbing him around the waist and tackle him to the floor.
Which, by the way, self-defense is legal. If somebody does something to you and you respond in self-defense, that is legal, which is the same argument that people were making about the officer who shot and killed Renee, is that he was acting in self-defense. But here, when she acts in self-defense, it must be staged. Who does that? Who does that? This is the kind of brain rot that we have to deal with American media. And I say American media, even though it's Piers Morgan, because everyone on that panel, as far as that spoke, were Americans. So stupid. So the guy goes to jail for what? He went to jail for a clickbait video at a town hall? It's just... It's so frustrating. I can't wait till all of these people are voted out of their office and we're able to like get something done about all this corruption. I can't wait. Can't come fast enough. By the way, the Epstein files need to be released. We are over almost, I think it's 40 days now since the Epstein files should have come out. And they're still trying to hide it. Pam Bondi's still trying to hide it. They're still going after her, but she's still trying to hide it.
Yeah, I just think if this is the kind of stuff that they're lying about to our face, if this is what they're telling us to our face, what they're doing when they're not on video has got to be worse, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Can we not assume that? If they're willing to get up and lie about the exact events of the Pretty shooting when we can all see the video, and they will, the first instinct is to lie about it rather than to say, oh, we can't comment on this at the moment.
Well, there was another shooting that happened and they're releasing information about it, but there's no video yet. And people are like, we can't even believe, like, nothing they're saying is real. I'm just going to assume that whatever it is they said is the actual opposite of what happened in real life. That's the way it works now.
Yep. They've done this from the start. Jan 6. Oh, that wasn't what you thought you saw.
Right.
That was apparently it was all the undercover FBI agents in there. The FBI agents who would have been in Trump's FBI, by the way, they were all doing it. Well, then why did he pardon them all? If it was all an inside job done by the FBI who somehow were working against Trump.
They were all Antifa or feds, which the feds worked for Trump at that point. So they're all Antifa or Trump's feds that were masquerading as people who went to jail but then came out. Now they're real people, and a lot of them are being arrested again for other things they're doing because they are violent, they are scumbags, and that's why they did it in the first place. So all of this is like conspiracy theory stuff is just crazy.
Yeah, every Jan 6 protester that got pardoned and has gone on to commit a subsequent crime, that's Trump's fault.
Which, by the way, they found the suspected pipe bomber that supposedly did it. There was a big Trump person, and they're arguing that because of Trump's blanket pardon to anybody related to January 6th that did things because of Trump, this guy who is a Trump supporter will probably, I don't know if it's gone to trial or not, but probably he will be let go because of Trump's pardon, most likely.
Yeah, that's one of the legal arguments his lawyers are putting forward, and to be honest, I think they've got a pretty good case for it because the wording of the pardons was so vague, and because he couldn't pardon everyone individually, based on
a blanket pardon to everybody related to January 6th. So crazy. Anyway, that's all the time I got. We got anything else, you guys? Anything?
The only thing I wanted to talk about is how I'm sure the Chuds are going to be talking about the new Melania documentary when that comes out.
Yeah, let's talk about Melania.
Yeah, we can do that for a moment before I go. Yeah, the non-sold out flop that's happening right now.
The most expensive documentary ever, I think, $40 million.
I think non-sold out is being a bit charitable, not non-sold at all.
Yeah.
So
for reference, I saw somebody giving reference on like some of the most well-known documentaries are like, you know, sometimes maybe like $10, $12 million, something like that.
Yeah, the only outlier was Fahrenheit 9/11, the Michael Moore film, which came after Bowling for Columbine, which was a huge success. And then on the back of that, Super Size Me. Those are like the two big documentaries, but they still cost very little to make.
Yeah, Brett Ratner is back, baby. Imagine that. Imagine the Trumps would be the one to bring back Ratner, the guy who was, you know, properly fucking canceled for being a rapist.
And he's in the Epstein files.
He's in the Epstein files, yeah. Didn't even use the Angel Studios method. No, they tried to do it. I think the hubris involved with this thing, it's like, you know, I saw some talking head from Melania was on the news talking about it, like, you know, all of Melania's fans, I hope they're going to show up. And it's like, does Melania have any fucking fans, really? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, probably not. You know, if and they're like, everybody knows Melania is so much of a visual person. It's like, I mean, you mean like that fucking those horrifying gothic Christmas decorations that she shared that time?
Yeah.
It looked like a goddamn nightmare.
So yeah, the highest grossing documentary I think of all time is still Fahrenheit 9/11. That cost $6 million to make.
Whoop. I guess he's like, that's all I got to say about that. I'm out of here. Yeah, I mean, like $6 million for that, and then so it's $40 million. Just seems like a laundering scheme at this point. Like,
yeah,
it just seemed like she's laundering some shit. By the way, yeah, Bezos, I'm completely, you know, I'm getting my shit off of Amazon. You know, as in like anything that's subscriptions or anything that I have through there, I'm fucking ending it. I'm done, dude. I'm done with this piece of shit. Done with the way that they fucking fuck people over. I learned some stuff about how they've managed to keep prices up while convincing people that their prices are lower. It's all really shady and fucking, you know, terrible. Hey, he's back. We thought you just
sorry.
Drop the mic on that.
No, it wasn't a mic drop. I closed all the windows instead of the tab like an idiot, like a noob. But yeah, it's just this whole thing. It's just an Amazon bribe, so Trump will go easy on Amazon for anything shady they want to do.
But it's not making a back. So big bomb. That's the guys. Chuds. This is what a box office bomb is. If you ever want to reference, this is a very good one as far as.
Yep, they spent $40 million on the film, $40 million on that film on a documentary, and $35 million on marketing. But I think that's underestimated because $35 million is less than the budget of the film. And so using Chud math,
right,
3-4 billion they spent on marketing by my record.
I saw Paula Poundstone, if you know who she is. She's been around a long time. I happened to see some of her shorts pop up recently, and she is, you know, I mean, hopefully she's doing well. I mean, she's not looking well, but she seems to be, you know, mentally doing pretty well. Just like, yeah, I hate to comment on it, but she looks kind of not well. Nonetheless, she's still funny as hell, and she's making some really good points about this documentary in particular. She's addressing Trump specifically, saying like, you know, because Melania had promised that there's going to be unseen, you know, goings on and access that you won't get anywhere else and all this stuff like that. And, you know, and it's all partially done, by the way, to push back against the very obvious fact that Melania was right there to some degree at some point in the center of the Epstein shit. You know, she's threatened to sue Hunter Biden and Michael Wolff for even suggesting that gets looked into. She hit them both with $1 billion lawsuit, threat for $1 billion lawsuit. Hunter Biden was like, "Bring it on." Nothing ever came of it. Michael Wolff literally countersued her for like a anti-slap suit or whatever, and then she just basically stopped responding. She is not letting her people accept the summons.
Well, I gotta jump out of here. I'm running way behind. So I will see everyone later.
Later, man.
Bye.
Later.
Because she's probably a very stupid person who is just been trained to speak a certain way to please whoever is financing her lifestyle. I hate to say it, but that's probably what it is. It doesn't look like it's. I mean, it's just propaganda, pure and simple. And why does she feel like she needs propaganda? Probably to some degree, I kind of understand it, and even like not sympathize, but like I can see if you were beholden to all Trump's shit, and you're just in whatever contract they have signed together that she's got to stay with him and keep, a certain public face and stuff. She probably wanted to kind of get her own side of that public face out there more. So. I don't know, because she probably knows he's fucking on death's door. And
yeah, and I mean, I can't imagine what their motives for thinking this was. Did they read? I guess it's Trump's delusion that he's genuinely popular and that the 77 million people that voted for him are all going to go and watch this film and make it a huge success.
I think that was it. Yeah. Looking good, sir. Looking good. This is what a lifetime of evil does to you, by the way. And literally there's people around him, people, in his camp, people that have met with him in recent, weeks and months say that he actually smells like he's rotting. And that's more than that's on top of the typical smells a little bit like he shit himself constantly that's been reported for years. This is like, yeah. Oh, you should go back and check out the Russia's news coverage the day that he won the election this time. They definitely showed some of her pictures.
Yeah, model is generous, I would say.
She stood there naked, basically.
I mean, yeah. I mean, technically as modeling, but yeah.
Well, we'll get into it once we get the Modern Audience channel going again. We have the proper shows going on that channel once Bob of the Old Ways is returned sometime in February, I think. But we do plan to cover the Sasha Riley claims and accusations and look at how much of that has been corroborated and how much of it still could be true or might not be or whatever. But there is a specific story in there. If you've looked at the Sasha Riley accusations, there's a specific story in there that is could very well explain why he's had problems and has literally worn diapers for decades at this point. Yeah. Trump steaks, Rossi from the inside. Yeah. What a piece of shit. Anyway,
yeah.
I was trying to look for. I thought that there was a recent debate between Piers Morgan and James O'Brien, but I guess that was an older clip that I'd seen.
Yeah, there's a couple of channels out there that recycle some very old.
Because I feel like I was kind of disappointed with James O'Brien on that one, and now I realize why. I think he would definitely go a little bit harder at Piers today if they spoke.
Yeah, no, this was years ago when.
Because James O'Brien is like, he's the fucking the white hat to Piers Morgan's whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah, and he's by no means what you would call a leftist. No, he's more of a liberal, but
he's a reasonable guy. He's a fucking, he's a guy.
Yeah.
So he clearly has fucking a sense of, right and wrong and what. Yeah, at a certain point, that's what I was saying. We were saying earlier. At a certain point, I don't even think it behooves us to be like, I'm a leftist or whatever. Like, man, if you're just not a soulless fucking miserable, hateful person, and you don't think that your government should do everything in its power to hurt people that, yeah, to me, it's just a matter of humanism and rationality at this point. But that's really all that ever was for me. So, yeah, what do you got going on, Ryan?
Not too much. Business as usual at the channel at the moment. I'm trying. I've got at least 4 scripts that are waiting to be finished. That are about something other than the Rockford Files, but it's just finishing is the difficult bit. But hopefully I'll be able to record those and they'll go up soon. But otherwise, Rockford reviews.
Have you ever seen Leverage? I started watching Leverage.
I haven't, no. It was on one of those channels over here where it would sporadically on, but I know of it.
Well, so oh, you know what we didn't discuss, and I keep forgetting to, is Night of the Seven Kingdoms is awesome. I like it a lot. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
No, I never got into Game of Thrones. I tried the first season and it just wasn't
Dude,
for me.
You talk just like they do. What do you? No, that's fine. The Game of Thrones thing, I was a little bit weary, but like this one is different in the sense that, like, for instance, House of the Dragon was it's a pretty well made show. I like it fine, but it does seem like it's trying to recapture exactly almost what Game of Thrones did. This one is a more comedic tone for sure. And I like that. I like being, kind of looking at the whole world with a bit more absurdity.
I know the Chuds are all loving it too, until they inevitably do something that the Chuds disagree with. So that'll be fun to watch. Although, yeah, Eric's got a good video on that as well. How Neurotic said he liked the show, and all of his fans said that they hated it without seeing it because he's conditioned them to all hate everything. Which is something that we always said that they were doing. They were training.
I wonder how they felt about the shot at the beginning of the newest episode, the second episode, with it was a flashback to Sir Duncan's the guy that sired his knight, and he has like a 2-foot long dick, and I'm not even exaggerating there. It's like that's one of the humorous aspects. He like walks out of his house to pee outside in the yard, and it's just like hangs to his knee. It's like it's fucking ridiculous. Daily Wire OGs versus Great American Hero. What?
I don't know what the Daily Wire OGs are.
Yeah, I know what Greatest American Hero is.
Yeah, it's not a show that I was ever into, but it's a great theme tune. One of the best theme tunes out there.
Well, I guess I'll share this video that we tried to watch it on Sunday and didn't really get too far because my shit was messing up, and that may happen again, but I'm gonna go ahead and get off of the stream and say goodbye to you guys and goodbye to Ryan. But I would recommend checking out this channel. It's Jew Almighty, J-U, 2 words, Almighty, good content creator. Here he covers the fuck around find out of guys like Fuentes and the Tates and Myron Gaines and all these pieces of shit, and them going on to meet Miami and singing Heil Hitler and how that worked out for them. It didn't work out too well. So it's a pretty entertaining video. See some chuds get their comeuppance. But yeah, see you guys probably on Friday, and check out Nothing But Media. Check out Eric Debunks. Check out The Modern Audience, which is all linked below, I believe. And yeah, we'll see you soonish.
When Andrew Tate are panicking.
Come through, we're with Sneeko, is that okay? And he came along and he made a fucking mess. And I could sit here and blame it all on him. And even though he put the song on, I just don't think...
I did it. He's lying right now. I didn't. I don't know where he got that, but what I think he's doing, I think Tate is strategically... I think he got scared.
Because they, along with the rest of the Rainbow Nazi Coalition, including Nick Fuentes and Myron, have been banned from Miami for being Nazis.
This is obviously not welcome in Miami Beach. It should not be welcome anywhere in the world.
And by the way, I spoke to other club operators. They are not welcome in their club. How they got into this club, open arms, I want to know how.
And maybe it's the year for fuck around and find out, because this is the second video I'm making in a week of racists immediately getting hit with consequences.
You're gonna sit around while you turn our children into a bunch of nigger lovers.
And it's amazing.
You're virtually banned from every single hospitality group in the United States.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
People laughing and celebrating Heil Hitler and Adolf Hitler. I cannot believe we're even seeing this and witnessing Miami Beach.
A Miami Beach nightclub
It's funny because their behavior is so normalized online, on stream, in their chats, in their echo chambers. I feel like I've been saying it all week. Whenever these extremists like Myron, Sneeko go into the real world, you really get to see how weird, fringe, and cringe they are. Imagine being such a geek that you party in the club to Hail Hitler. That's so stupid.
I cannot believe we're even seeing this and witnessing Miami Beach.
A Miami Beach nightclub catching heat, accused of celebrating hate with a song about Hitler.
Absolute disgust. Disgusted, horrified.
City leaders reacting to videos making the rounds on social media featuring the Kanye West song with the lyrics Heil Hitler over and over again. The same men seen in the club, known as controversial influencers, are also in a video from a limo. In that one, they're singing, and one of them is performing a Nazi salute.
The Nazi Rainbow Coalition is so crazy. There's only one white person in this whole entire vehicle, and it's the young dude Clavicular. He's a Sunnis Arab. Tristan Tate has a black dad. Nick Fuentes is a Mexican. Sneeko has a black dad. What is wrong with these people?
Have people in our city celebrating this. Animals.
This is obviously not welcome in Miami Beach. It should not be welcome anywhere in the world.
And by the way, I spoke to other club operators. They are not welcome in their club. How they got into this club, open arms, I want to know how.
The videos are from Saturday night. This one inside the Club Vendome at 743 Washington Avenue. The club releasing a statement on social media that reads in part, "We want to be unequivocally clear. Vendome and our hospitality group do not condone anti-Semitism, hate speech, or prejudice of any kind." It goes on to state, "We are deeply disturbed by the harm caused by this incident and the circulation of this footage." The Post explains the business is looking into safeguards and procedures to make sure this doesn't happen again. As for the men in the video celebrating the song, the mayor has this message.
It's disgusting. It's shameful. And you are not welcome in Miami Beach.
I think this mayor is the same guy that sent sheriffs to a woman's house because he didn't like a Facebook post or maybe an Instagram comment that she left or something like that. Really crazy and against the Constitution. But he's not wrong in this incident.
Owners of the club or the management of the club also said in the statement that they are working to determine who allowed that song to be played so that they can be held accountable.
And Sneeko actually reacted to the news on stream as Andrew Tate called him as smarmy as usual until he found out that he was basically banned from Miami. Then his tone changed.
To videos
Oh my God, dude.
making the rounds on social media. Men in the video celebrating the song.
Celebrating the song. Just turning up in a... Niggas can't even go to the club anymore.
He sounds so weird when he says the N-word. These dudes try so hard to be edgelords, to push the boundaries on free speech, and to offend people that when they actually get a reaction or meet the consequences for their actions, they then act surprised and like they weren't intentionally doing anything wrong. Nobody is turning up in the club to hail Hitler. Come on, what are we doing?
Hey, Channel 7 News, why are you hating out from outside a club? You can't even get in.
Sneeko is corny as hell.
You can't even get in. Just a couple niggas in the club.
The thing that gets me about Sneeko, and the same about Andrew Myron, is they hate on black people so much. They trash black culture so much every chance they get, but they continuously use black culture to try to look cool.
Are we celebrating Doja Cat when it comes on? When Ice Spice comes on and I'm having a little fun and she's throwing it back, am I celebrating? Sexy Red comes on. I don't promote what Sexy Red sings about. Her music is ski. It's good. In the club.
There's nothing wrong with partying to music in the club, unless that music is praising Nazis or the KKK or another hate group. Like, we're not gonna sit here and act like they were partying to a regular Kanye song. This wasn't Can't Tell Me Nothing or All of the Lights.
I'm looking for the hoes. Obviously what she's doing is not positive, but it's like, it's a song, man.
It's shameful, and you are not welcome in Miami Beach.
Am I banned from the fucking Miami Beach?
Actually, yes. They banned you from, I think, every club and restaurant in Miami.
What are you talking about? I'm banned? How do you get banned? How do you get banned from a city for listening to a song?
They forced the DJ to play a banned song in the club praising Nazis. The DJ and other people in the club got fired for doing that. These dudes stay trying to act like victims.
What are you gonna do about it, first off? Like, there's nothing American, there's nothing illegal, we didn't commit a crime. There's crime in so many of these places all over. And you're gonna ban people for listening to a song. Ban someone from a city.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at the fucking guy. Bro, you realize like this stuff like this just makes the song have more aura. More people are gonna want to listen to it.
It doesn't. And then shit continued to get real for Sneeko once he found out this was not a game and he was literally banned from clubs and restaurants in Miami. Sneeko finds out from his promoter friend that he's banned from virtually all hospitality groups.
You know you're banned from everything now, right? You smoked yourself. He's been in my vlogs. It's this promoter who's been in my vlogs. He's been a friend of mine for a while. We've had back and forth. He's a Zionist, and he just said I'm banned from everything.
It's so crazy to make the news for being a cringe, corny, non-white, Nazi white supremacist praising Hitler.
Let's see what's going on.
The racist.
Hey, what's up? I'm streaming right now.
I can see that.
You watching?
No, I'm not.
Oh, what's going? So I'm banned from everything?
That's what I hear.
From who? Who said that?
You're banned from virtually. Am I on stream? I don't want my face on stream.
Oh, okay, yeah, just put your voice.
You're virtually banned from every single hospitality group in the United States.
Like what?
Tao Group, Groot Hospitality, H-Root Group, virtually every restaurant, every venue, every nightclub, you're pretty much banned for your anti-Semitic remarks and your absolute racism and your hatred towards Jews.
If people like Sneeko, Nick Fuentes, Myron, I'm putting Andrew Tate in there because he did the Nazi salute like a week ago and said we need to bring back Nazis. If these people want to be racist, Nazi-loving, Hitler-supporting, fringe, alt-right weirdos, then that's how they should be treated. Ban them from everything for all I care.
I thought we were friends.
We are friends. You don't want to be friends anymore?
Oh, I haven't been your friend in over a year, my man. Your anti-Semitism is blatantly disgusting. It's very, very offensive. I've hosted you thousands of times, taken care of you. I've been a true friend, and all I've ever received from you is hatred, racism, and just anti-Semitism.
When have I been racist or hateful towards you?
You always
toward him. I was about to say, what? Sneeko has definitely said racist shit against the Jewish community, against black people. But I guess he said, when has he done it directly at a person? I don't get how racists can act like that makes a difference if they weren't directly racist towards somebody, but they're still racist. You're racist no matter what. And he wasn't the only one that got the bad news on stream. So did Clavicular. Clav was dying after finding out he was permanently banned from Miami nightclub Vendome.
Clav, hurry the fuck up. Who banned? Let's check. There's no way they would have banned us.
These dudes really think actions have no consequences, and it's because they're so used to being on stream, saying and doing what they want, having the chat hype them up and support them, that when they get into the real world, they think that's how it works, and it just doesn't.
Huh.
If anything, Vendome is the one that likes y'all, right?
Oh yeah, we might have got...
I thought Vendome likes you guys.
Oh yeah, we did get permanently banned.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah, that was...
On God?
Yeah.
Wow. Is it permanently banned? Is that a new statement?
Yeah.
Getting banned from all the Miami nightclubs or just this one in particular won't bother somebody like Nick Fuentes or even a Myron Amru, who are weirdos and don't go out and just sit behind the camera all day, every day. But somebody young like this dude who does want to be out and about in the streets and in the night spots, this hurts his soul.
3 hours ago? Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, who gives a fuck, man? That club wasn't great anyway.
They were having the time of their life. And then the denial starts. Sneeko responds after being accused of being a Nazi, which he is, he always has been. He's done Nazi salutes on stream, talked about Hitler, talked about the Nazis. If somebody acts like a Nazi and talks like a Nazi, I'm calling them a Nazi. Directly calling out Laura Loomer for claiming he was throwing a salute. Even if he didn't throw a Sieg Heil that night, he's done it on stream before.
You know what to do.
He denies it, says the screenshots were taken out of context, and reveals he's Jewish himself. Self-hate knows no bounds. He has a black father, but he's super anti-black. So his grandfather being Jewish makes no difference.
Laura Loomer, I'll just say the name specifically. You guys say she looks like Jigsaw from I Want to Play a Game. You say that's what she looks like. I don't really know the woman. She's tweeting at me nonstop, and she's saying I was throwing up salutes. I wasn't. She was taking a screenshot where my arm is up pointing. It's saying, oh, look at him throwing salutes. No, I'm not doing that.
Congrats, Sneeko. You didn't throw up a Nazi salute that time, but you've been on stream throwing up Nazi salutes before. Let's be real.
The way she talks about Muslims is exactly how insinuating that I speak about Jewish people. I'm Jewish myself. I'm 12% Jewish. Again, people getting upset saying I'm promoting the Holocaust. I am a product of the Holocaust. I hope somebody clips this. The reason I exist is because my grandfather fled the Holocaust. He was a half Jewish man. He went undercover. He changed his last name. My last name is fake.
Sneeko is also a Holocaust denier. He said that many people didn't die and the numbers were incorrect.
And then out about this. I didn't know this until very recently. It's about, I didn't commit a crime. I'm literally following the rights that were given as Americans. Oh, you can't say this?
Part of that should also be respecting your neighbor, not try to personally insult anybody for absolutely no reason. Respect other people, even if you don't like them or where they come from or anything. It's not that hard.
You can't say that, but really what makes this country so great is that we don't have a dictatorship that doesn't allow you to say certain things. But now what you're seeing even in Miami Beach, police are coming up to people's houses.
And this is the type of community he's nourished. They're just talking about him being a Jew now. Jew nigganese. Like, come on, bro. This is his own community going on him because he said he's a Jew. And so the face of somebody whose grandfather almost died in the Holocaust, escaped, changed his name, married a black woman, had his father, and then had him, I guess. And then as all these right-wing crybabies do, Sneeko started throwing out the whataboutisms of rap music.
Every song that you play in the club, why don't you have to see any clubs apologize when they glorify killing innocent people in Chicago or in New York City? the gang violence. Every single song you hear in the club is glorifying violence.
And then the number one thing that all of them do is criticize the black community. This is not a black community issue right here. How do the problems in the black community or the music from the black community have anything to do with you playing a racist, Nazi sympathizing, Hitler praising song in the club and getting called out for it?
Killing innocent black people. And on MLK Day, it's like, let's put this into context. You're mad because I listened to a song.
Using whataboutism to justify a Nazi slogan is a generational glitch. Of course, it's going to be one. Nah, he got a point. What the fuck is Sneeko talking about, bro? Damn, bro, you down bad, huh? Right. I actually think the funniest response to all of this, though, is Andrew Tate, who tried to get away from this controversy as fast as humanly possible.
I didn't play it. I didn't ask him to play it. I didn't dance. I didn't sing. In fact, the only time you see me on there is me storming out of the bus saying this is ridiculous and leaving. But I know why it was played. It was played because of this. It was played because it gets traction in a world where everybody is bored of everything all of the time. And that's why these young people are encouraged constantly to try and do the most shocking thing possible.
He is the shock factor king. He built his whole entire reputation and platform of saying the most shocking off-the-wall shit. For him to be acting like he's so against what happened is crazy work.
You see this not just with this song. You see this on all their streams. They're running people over and doing retarded shit constantly.
Oh, he's throwing people under the bus.
I'm not here to make excuses for myself. I'm not here to say it wasn't me. I'm not here to, blame someone else. But it is kind of ridiculous. It does feel a bit unfair that I'm standing in a nightclub. A song comes on that I did not request. A song comes on that I do not dance to. I do not repeat the lyrics to. I just stand there. And then they want to attribute somehow the song playing to me and it all being my fault. I didn't play it.
I think Sneeko played the song.
Yeah.
I think Tristan explicitly told me that Sneeko played the song.
If Sneeko played the song, Sneeko played the song.
I'm not here to make excuses or throw anybody under the bus, but I didn't play the song. Sneeko played the song. Excuses, bus.
I don't think that any of them are deeply anti-Semitic genuinely. I think they're just kids. It gets a reaction.
What is up with these conservatives saying grown-ass men are kids? I feel like Myron Amber was like 35, 36, maybe 37. Sneeko gotta be 28, 29, damn near 30. His brother Tristan Tate, who gotta be 40, was on the bus. I think Nick Fuentes is 27. These are not kids. These people are old enough to have kids and have families. They're all racist. They're all anti-black. They're all Nazi sympathizers. They all praise Hitler. And everything they did was very intentional. And they were having the time of their life before there was consequence.
I have small dick energy.